You're watching Poindexter Lounge. You already know. You're watching Poindexter Lounge for the unity.
Hi, you're watching Poindexter Lounge. I'm choking on chicken.
Hi, you're watching Poindexter Lounge. Do you like nerd stuff? Yeah? Then you'll love this. You never know what might happen or who might show up at the lounge.
Why don't you set aside an hour or two? We'll have a few drinks and a cup of coffee I don't drink.
I just want to thank you for being here and being my friend. It's always good to have someone you could count on. And I'm glad you're that for me.
And now I'll make the point better. This joint's clever. In the lounge with Poindexter. So Poindexter Lounge, you know that we can get it in. And now I'm headed up like I'm Led Zeppelin.
Yo. Hey, 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 yo.
Poindexter, you're getting all excited.
What's up, nerd family? Welcome once again to the Poindexter Lounge. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Fett, and it is good to have you with me in the lounge today. Now, look, if this is your first time to the lounge, I don't normally sound like this. I totally threw out my voice yesterday, being silly on a couple of streams. But you know what? Hey, we're here. It's Sunday night, and we're gonna have some fun. And as long as my voice holds up, we're gonna talk nerd stuff. We're gonna talk pop culture stuff. And so, if you love those kind of things, if you love talking about things like TV shows, movies, games, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books, superheroes, toys, and so much more, then you have found the right place. So please hit that subscribe button, because this is the channel you've been looking for your entire life. Seriously, this is you were scouring all of YouTube, the millions of channels that are out there, and you didn't even know that this was the one. This was the one that you were looking for. And so, but we knew. Those of us who've been here, we've been waiting for you. So please hit that subscribe button. Also, if you could, before you leave tonight, if you could hit that like button and give us a thumbs up, we'd appreciate that. We're just glad to have you guys here. So thankful for everyone who stops by the lounge just to, just to chill, just to talk, just to have some fun. Thank you to all of our patrons. You guys are awesome. We appreciate all of your support and what you guys mean to us. It really means a lot to us that you guys support the channel in the way that you do. Also, all of the members of the channel, thank you guys for being members and for, also being part of the channel and doing what you do. And of course, everyone who gives super chats, thank you to everyone. And hey, thanks for just watching, because that's what we need. We need people to watch. So thank you for just watching. Appreciate each and every one of you. That being said, look, I try to do a little something. Typically once we're going, we haven't been streaming a lot lately. I've been putting out a lot more excuse me, a lot more toy reviews and some different reviews and stuff. And so, but usually when we're, going full tilt, like with our live streams and stuff, we do regular giveaways. And so this week's giveaway, we're going to give this away this week, is this 3-pack DVD, Blu-ray, I should say. It's a Blu-ray pack of Superman the movie, along with Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, and Superman Returns. So anyways, all you got to do to qualify for this is be a patron, a member, or give a super chat at any time, and you are in the running for our giveaway. Also, I did put this out there the other day, and apparently some people had a problem with it. I don't know why. You all know that I wrote a song called Associate Producer a while back. You can literally find it for free all across all the platforms. I mean, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on it's here on YouTube. There's a music video. You can watch it literally anytime you want for free. I had put out that you know what, if just to give something away, because look, I just appreciate the people who give. I always feel like you guys give, whether it be the patron, the members, or super chats. I always feel like, hey, I want to give you guys something for doing that. So I had put out in a community post that if you did something like that, then and you wanted an MP3 of the song, all you had to do was email us at poindexterlounge@gmail.com, and I would send you an MP3. A couple of you guys have already done that, and I will be emailing you out the song for sure. But that being said, look, if you just want the song, just let me know. Email me. All right, poindexterlounge@gmail.com. I'll email you the song. Yeah, it's that simple. The only reason I say that is because some people apparently had a problem with the fact that I was going to only email it apparently to people who were a member or a patron or whatever. You know what? Here's the thing. I just appreciate you guys, and I try to give a little bit back. That's all. That's all. Anyways, it is good to have you with me in the lounge tonight. I got some people waiting in the background. We're going to bring them in just a second. But first, I just want to say hi to a couple people because it's been a couple of minutes since we streamed. So what's up, baby girl? Good to see you tonight. What's up, Jenner? What's up, Bruce? Good to see you, my man. Captain James Biggins, good to see you in the chat tonight. Let's see. Excuse me. There were, man. I saw them. They were there. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you just didn't look hard enough. There was also a penis. I will tell you that. What's up, Black Ops? Good to see you. Let's see. What's up, Bat Dan? Good to see you. It says every time something crazy happens in my world, my first thought is I can't wait to see South Park's take on this. Right? We're going to talk about South Park tonight. What's up, Dark Star? Good to see you. Anchorman. Good to see you. Says I know it's been a bit. Just hoping for some 2 cents on nonsense. Sorry if I seem obsessed with that show. It just, you and Johnny make my day so much better when you do 2 cents on nonsense. Hey, I know, I appreciate that. And I'm really glad that you guys really resonate with 2 cents on nonsense. We were going to do an episode tonight, our normal Sunday night episode, but Johnny had family members come from out of town, so we weren't able to do that. But we'll get back to the nonsense. Don't worry. We already got some plans for the next one. What's up, Caleb? Good to see you. My day was good. If I could just keep my voice, I'd be fine. The Dork Knight, good to see you. Oh, that's so sweet. Says I waited all day to be at the lounge with my party people. Awesome. Glad to see you tonight. What's up, Anthony Beltray? Good to see you. Hey, there's Tony, my good friend Tony. He's in the back. He's going to be joining us here in just a minute. Mary Wilcox, what's going on, Mary? Good to see you. Says happy Sunday, everybody. You Do Suck is here. What's up, Jose Diaz? Says release the air cut. Absolutely. Let's get that thing done, right? Let's see. Agent Ethan 47 says, I seen Suicide Squad yesterday and it was absolutely amazing. A 10 out of 10 for me. That's awesome. Well, tonight I'm going to tell you finally what my feelings were on the Suicide Squad, and we'll see what people think of me after that. Integrity 101 says, really, what made it so great? Asking Agent there. What's up, Music Man? Good to see you, Music Man. Hey, what's up, H Barts? H Barts with a $2 super chat. Thank you, H Barts. Appreciate that. Says, hey, Anush, how are you? I'm good, man. I'm good. Like I said, I'm doing well. Things are good, and just happy to be back in the lounge with you guys tonight, as always. And so thank you, man. I appreciate you for sure. Let's see. Brian Master Nunn is here. He is in the back. He's going to be joining us in just a second. Whoops. My StreamYard skipped again. Let's see. Anthony Grigsby, what's going on, man? Says hi, Enosh and everyone. Poindexter Lounge family. Good to see you, man. For sure. Let's see. Zeno is here. Says the Suicide Squad rules. Snyderverse or something. Hi, Enosh. Oh my goodness. You know what? There's a little bit of both there. What's up? Paul Smith says, hey, Enosh, missed you, man. Hope you and the fam are good. Hello, fellow cinephiles. Let the sin begin. with a CIN. I like what you did there. That's kind of cool. Let's see. What's up, Pat Gaming Apa Style says, I don't think this is the best DC movie since The Dark Knight, as some people are making it out to be. Yeah, you know what? You're gonna get a grounded, realistic review from me tonight. So there's a lot of truth to what you just said there. Let's see. What's up, 187? Good to see you, 187. 187 was giving me a hard time and a compliment tonight in one of our community posts. Said that he thinks I'm a good man, even with my hate for the MCU. And I don't hate the MCU. I love the MCU. We just, I just don't think it's the greatest things in sliced bread either. But we're good. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Let's see. A couple more here, and then we'll get right into things. So JP Frazier Frazzler. I'm sorry, Frazzler. JP Frazzler says, hello from Ontario. Love the lounge. Thank you, JP. Love you too, man. Really appreciate you guys up there in Ontario. Got a lot of great Canadians who love the lounge. And so we're always glad to have you guys. What's up, Jacob? Jacob, good to see you. Says, what's up? Cinefinity and Beyond says, sup, Nosh. Good to see you. Ozymandias 714 says, what's up? Good to see you. Benimus Prime in the house says, what's up, Enosh? Hope your weekend was good. My weekend has been good for sure. What's up, Rhea? Always good to see you, Rhea. Always welcome, Rhea. You're always welcome to join. I know you have the link, so you're always welcome if you'd like to come on in. Good to see you. But yes, smash that like button. Okay. Abhijit Shakar. I hope I said that right. Look, I have an unusual name, so for me, so I try to get people's names right, but I'm thinking it's Abhijit. Abhijit Shakar says, hey, Enosh, good to see you as well. What's up, Tristan? Says, sup, Nosh, I'm doing a Lego Batman stop motion series, and I think it's going to be perfect because my friend does a great Kevin Conroy Batman impersonation. That's awesome. That's really cool. Danny L in the house says, hi, Enosh. Good night, everyone. This is my comfort zone after a sad and tough weekend. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I hope that the lounge tonight can perk you up. You know what? You guys have reached out to me. A lot of you guys have reached out to me this weekend, and I'll get into this in just a second. What's up, Ill Life? Ill Life in the house. Good to see Ill Life up in here. Let's see. What's up? Boston? Just good to see you. What's up, the main man? I like it. I like the Lobo reference. Love the Lobo reference for sure. Sean C in the house. Good to see you, Sean C. Says, hope your vacation time away was good and gave you time to rest. I wasn't on vacation. I just needed a break. I just really need a break. I think sometimes you just need a break. And I had a bunch of people who were just, they were just being whatever to me. And look, you all know I try to be a very, very positive person. I try to stay very, 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 very positive in my approach here at the lounge. And you know what? But even I can feel overwhelmed at times. And so, you know what? I just needed some time to just kind of get my thoughts together, get myself together, and that's what we did. So thank you so much. I appreciate that, though. 187. Oh, I know you're just messing with me, 187. I know. H Barts with a $5 super chat. Thank you, H Barts. Says, like the movie, not top 5, though. Shazam was better. You know what? I think I agree with that. Still better than Wonder Woman 84. Yes. And Birds of Prey also liked Guardians better. Yeah. You know what? I'll get into in just a second what my feelings are. But there's some truth to that, H Barts. You got some good points there. Comic Book Craig movie says, hey, I should just finish the Suicide Squad. I enjoyed it. Not as good as the first one, in my opinion, but leaps and bounds better than Wonder Woman 84. Right. What's up, James? Good to see you. Yes, we're doing well. Joshua Rose, good to see you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. Michael K is here. Good to see you, Michael K. Caleb's here. I don't know if I got there, but all right. So I got a great Kira. What's up, Kira? Good to see you. Yep, I am still hanging in there. So I just want to tell everybody I'm doing well. If you guys follow the channel, you know that I'm a positive guy. People don't always like that. and people don't always like my take on stuff, and that's okay. People don't have to like my take on everything. I don't expect everybody to like everything that I like or feel the same way about stuff that I feel about it. And there are times when issues come up that I feel I need to take a stand on, and that's what I've done, and that's what I will continue to do. You know, and I'm not going to agree with everybody all the time. Even the people that I stand up for, I'm not necessarily going to agree with on every topic or every stance and everything that that comes up, and that's okay. It just is. It's okay for you to like the things that you like, and it's okay for me to like the things that I like. And if you don't like something, that's fine too. Hello, David. Good to see you tonight. Yes, I'm glad to be back too. And there's my good buddy Ryan. Good to see you, man. So I just want to, yeah. So Suicide Squad. I will say this, and then we'll jump into the conversation with Suicide Squad with everybody. Suicide Squad for me. I love the movie. I thought it was great. Now I know there's going to be people out there who's like, you can't watch Suicide Squad. If you watch Suicide Squad, you're somehow, there's people who are just, they act like if you watch Suicide Squad and you enjoyed Suicide Squad, somehow you're betraying Zack Snyder, you're betraying David Ayer, in some roundabout way you're betraying Ray Fisher. I don't see it that way. You know, I understand there's people who feel very, very passionate about this stuff, but I just don't. I just don't see it that way at all. I see it that if you're a DC fan, you're probably going to like this film. This film has got a lot of fun stuff in it. It's got a lot of great character development. It's a continuation of the first movie. I've seen people try to defend or try to attack this movie by defending the first movie, even though David Ayer said himself that first movie wasn't even his movie. Like he flat out came out and said, that movie's not my movie. My movie was a completely different movie. So if you like the first one, it doesn't mean that you like David Ayer's stuff. It means that you liked what they gave you the first time. And I liked the first one. I really liked the first one. In fact, I felt that this one actually had a very similar feel to the first one. Do I want to see the Ayer cut? Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to see the Ayer cut because I want to see David Ayer's real interpretation of this, because I've said time and time again, I love realistic approaches for these superhero movies. And once you start down that route and you really like that, you get to a point where it's like you really don't want to see the kiddie stuff anymore, and so that's my opinion about Suicide Squad. I thought I love the characters. Look, as far as I'm concerned, Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie can do no wrong in that in that role. I even loved her in Birds of Prey. So, and I know that not everybody agrees with that take, but I do. That's my take. I loved Bloodsport in it. I thought Bloodsport did a good job. I loved the other character development. A lot of people died. That's fine with me. I know that there are people who were upset that a lot of people died. It's the Suicide Squad. That's the whole point. Is kind of like if they're going off on a mission, there's the chance that they may die. I know there's some people who are upset with Amanda Waller because she kind of backed down at the end. Believe it or not, guys, as hard and as pronounced as Amanda Waller is, there are times she backs down. And really, she was put in a position, I think, at the end of this movie where it was like she was given an ultimatum. She chose one thing, but Amanda Waller, that's the kind of, I'm saying as a fan, not the people in the movie, as a fan, you want her to back down to that, to be able to come back and seek revenge later and still put the squad together. Because if she just backs down, if she backed down to Batman in the first one, we wouldn't have the second one. If she backs down to Bloodsport and everybody in this one, then you don't get a sequel to this one. I want a sequel to this one. I want to see more Suicide Squad. And they're villains. You got to remember that these are villains. There's no honor among thieves. There's no honor among villains. It's literally, they're bad guys. So you can't trust them. Even if they say that they're friends and they try to come together for something, you can't trust them in the end. So, but I like the character development. I will say this, there's something that I spoke out on and I do agree with it because I don't agree with what's being said. There's a scene with Harley Quinn where Harley Quinn has relations with someone. So I will say this about that. I don't like the idea of Harley Quinn just having relations with anyone. She's Harley Quinn, right? And as Harley Quinn, uh, that's something special and I think reserved. And I don't think that she should just be throwing that around. I mean, but in the end, look, she's Harley Quinn. She can do whatever the heck she wants. Whoever she wants to sleep with, she can sleep with. But I think we kind of look at Harley Quinn sometimes, and like she's one of the special ones, right? I mean, we're all special, but you get what I'm saying. I think that like I don't necessarily just want to see her just with Joe Schmo, even though was the president of the country or whatever. What I will say about that though is this idea that she was taken advantage of, or a lot of people have used the R word when it comes to that scene, is absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is nothing about that scene whatsoever. She definitely jumps that dude and absolutely was into it, absolutely consented, absolutely was 100% part of the act. It was only afterwards where he is revealing his plan to her and what he wants to do and where he's going that she's like, I promised myself that if I saw any red flags with a boyfriend or anybody that I got together with, that I would kill him, I'd take him out. And that's what she does. And so she ends it right there. And she even makes the comment, the joke that's like, it's too bad with what he had between his legs, that she that, she's Harley Quinn. She she wished it wasn't that way, but she took him out. She was not taken advantage of though. She absolutely consented to that. And so I'm sorry if you feel that way, but I don't see that. And I don't see that a point can even be made for that. But I think the characters developed well. I loved Starro in it. I thought Starro was great. And I'm not really a big fan of Starro, to be honest with you. I know that's a controversial take for some people. But, I've heard some people say, well, why wasn't the Justice League involved in this? Well, first of all, guys, if you read comic books, you know that like stuff is happening all over the world at any given time. There's always villains. There's always things that are going on. And not everything can be handled by the Justice League. And not everything's going to be handled by those. And plus, nobody knew that Starro was even there until literally Starro was revealed. So, it's fine. It really is fine. Like I said, I love the feel of it. Now, I will say this. Is it my favorite DC movie? No. No, it's not. Man of Steel, BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Hey, that is the crown jewel. But is there room for movies like this in the DC universe? Absolutely. Do I want every DC movie to have this tone? Absolutely not. I do not want but every movie to have this tone. But I feel that this movie, it's got a place. And there should be a place for movies like this within the DC universe. And that's kind of just my that's just my take on the film. I think that it was fine, that it did its job. It was not just kiddie. It was not people saying it's Marvelized. I don't remember Marvel ever doing anything as R-rated and as graphic as as this movie in any way. So it's got some colors to it, some light colors to it, and bright colors and stuff like that, and that's fine. And a lot of people died. A lot of people died in this film. There always going to be things that you would do different? Yeah, there are. You know what? I like King Shark in The Flash. I like the serious take on King Shark. This take is fine. It's just a different take on King Shark. But at the end of the day, I will just tell you this. Suicide Squad is nothing to get your panties in a bunch over. It's nothing to get upset over. You shouldn't be trying to tell other people that they can't enjoy this. It's fine. It really is fine. We can have different kinds of stuff, folks. And if you know what? Here's the thing too, is if you're a DC fan, it's okay for there to be DC properties maybe you don't enjoy. It's literally okay. It's the same thing I've been saying about Star Wars and everything else. There's going to be times when there's projects that you don't like, and that's fine. And just wait for the next thing. Now, look, I'm concerned for the future of DC. Absolutely. But as somebody who's going to be talking about these things, I'm going to make sure that I'm educated about it. So before, like, say I talk about the Flash movie, I'm going to watch the Flash movie, and I think that's the smart thing to do. look, and I'm going to watch it knowing full well that there were some things that happened behind the scenes that I don't think were right regarding Ray Fisher and others, in the past. That being said, I don't feel that I'm betraying anyone by watching a movie. Watching a movie is just that, watching a movie. Andy Muschietti didn't do anything to me. As far as I know, Andy Muschietti didn't do anything to the people that I respect. There are people that I think, and apparently Wayne T. Carr went on Pop Culture Corner and retracted what he said to some degree, I guess. And I still haven't watched it, so I can't speak to that. But on this channel, it said that he was going to see the Flash and that Ray was going to see the Flash, and Ray even talked about compartmentalizing, remembering that, look, even though there's somebody like Walter Hamada involved with some of these films, Walter Hamada is not the only person working on these films, and if they change their mind about that, that's fine. Look, people have the right to change their mind. I still think though that description of how to deal with it still stands. I think that that's a good place to be. And I think that that's fine if people take that stance. That's where I'm at right now, right? I'm not supporting something to support, people's behaviors who are higher up on the totem pole at Warner Brothers. That's not how I'm doing it. I'm interested to see what they're doing. I'm a DC fan, and that's where I'm going to be. But again, no one should tell you what you can and can't see. There is nobody in this fandom that should be able to lord that over you and tell you what you can and can't see as a fan. And that if you see something that they don't think you should see, that you're not a true fan. Folks, I'm just going to put it this way. That part of the fandom, we all need to leave that part of the fandom behind. Those people, those negative people, we need to leave them behind. They are not true parts of this fandom. This fandom, as far as being a DC fan, and this is all I'm going to say about this. I haven't talked a lot about the Snyderverse. I know people lump me in with this and they act like that because it's me that I just talk about it all the time. I don't. I talk about it when people want to talk about it. And I'm not trying to keep it going and trying to tell you something that's going to happen. It's not going to happen. All I'm saying to you is, as a fan and as fans of these movies, I don't care what somebody else tells me. Neither should you. You should be able to enjoy what you enjoy. Point blank, period. If you enjoyed Suicide Squad, good. If you didn't, good. It's a movie. It will pass. But this thing of trying to tear down this movie and prop it up against the things that you like to say that it's trash is not fair. It's not fair to the people who made this movie. Look, I don't enjoy John Cena as the greatest, actor either, right? But it's just a film. It literally is just a movie. And here's the thing. We get all concerned about these things, when it comes to these films. And we're worried about all these other things around these films. The average person is not. If you talk to the average person who's out there, go get your hair cut. People don't know what happened with Zack Snyder's Justice League. Go to the grocery store. I talk to people all the time about this stuff, and they just don't know. And yes, we can educate them and tell them, about what happened. But there's going to be people who are just going to go see this movie. And if we're out here like acting like fools and just hating just to hate, it makes us look bad just to hate. And, and you know what? Ill Life, you know what? I agree with you there. I'm not worried about the future of the DCU because of one movie. It was fine for me, this movie, right? Yeah, I understand this point of view. I understand this point of view that Ill Life says, this is, I always respect you and everyone else's opinion, but I disagree. I thought it felt like a joke, the whole movie, and just wasn't what I wanted as a Suicide Squad fan, and really worries me about the future of DCEU. And that's fine. and maybe you wanted something else in life out of a Suicide Squad movie. For me, it met the requirements that I needed for a Suicide Squad movie. And I felt like if any movie was going to be like this, it should be the Suicide Squad movie. If the Flash movie is like this, then I have an issue, because the Flash movie shouldn't be like this. Other films should not be like this. The Suicide Squad has a certain tone that is fine for this. Not every movie, though, should have this tone. H Bars with a $10 super chat, and then we're gonna jump in with everyone. Says thank you H Barts for the $10 super chat. Says after watching, asked my parents what they thought, and they said glad we watched on HBO Max. They thought it was average. They want more main stuff like The Flash. Yeah, and you know what? And that's the thing. A lot of people do. They want the main characters, And I think that's like anything, that we want more of the main characters probably before we start branching out, right? As far as what I give it, I give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a perfect movie. There's a lot of stuff that I don't that I don't care for, but it's an 8 out of 10, and it's just is what it is. But like I said, it's one film. We'll obviously keep an eye on future films in the DCEU, and I'm going to judge each film by itself. And I think that's fair, don't you? To judge each film that you see by itself. There's a lot of films that I've seen that fall flat for me. I went and saw Old with Tiffany last week. I'm a big M. Night Shyamalan fan, and I thought the concept was really great. I thought that most of the movie was really great. I thought the ending fell flat. It was not what it was weird, the ending for me. And Tiffany felt the exact same way. So that's okay. And that's how we should judge films, folks. We shouldn't go in just automatically deciding, well, I'm going to hate this film before I even step foot in the theater or turn on my HBO Max. So, all right. So that's my take on it. Y'all have been asking me over the weekend. I wanted to get that out of the way before I brought anybody in, because I'm sure other people are going to have, have their takes, and they're either going to like it or they're not going to like it. And so we'll find out exactly what they thought. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, in the lounge tonight, you love him. I love him. It's always good to see him when he makes his appearances here, and it's just an overall good guy, and it's very, very thankful. Real quick, well, before I bring him in, I'll answer this question. Tin Truong with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, how'd you feel about the Peacemaker character? So I'll be honest with you, John Cena as a whole, I'm not a big fan of John Cena, the actor. I'm not a huge fan of John Cena, the wrestler, either. He's very bland as a wrestler. He's become that, unfortunately. And I'm a huge wrestling fan, but he's become that as a wrestler. He's also become that as an actor. He's just kind of there. But in this movie, I felt like he did a good job. I felt like he was entertaining and funny to me in this role. I felt like this was the type of role that was there for him. I'm also interested in seeing what the Peacemaker show is going to be like. It will be interesting to see what his show is going to be like. But when the show comes out, I'm going to watch it and we'll see. But I thought the character was fine. There was a weird interaction with him and Flag there. If we got into spoilers, you all know what I'm talking about. But obviously he had a purpose in that film. Peacemaker was serving a purpose for Amanda Waller, and that's Amanda Waller. She always has people, certain people in her back pocket. So yep. That's my feeling on it. I felt like he did fine for his role in the film. Not always the biggest fan of him. So, but this guy never has to redeem himself. This guy that I'm bringing in first never has to explain himself, because you know what? He's just an overall good guy, and you all like him, and I like him too. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Master Nunn. What's up, Brian?
Not a whole lot. I am very excited to discuss what I felt was a fantastic movie with you and the rest of my friends.
There you go. There you go. Also here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from north of the border of the United States, that is, Tony, a.k.a. Ray, the drunk guy in Canada.
Hello.
What's up? What's up, Tony? Good to see you, man.
It's been a long time, guys.
Yes,
Heck
it
yeah,
has.
man.
Yes, it has. Good to see you in here.
Nice to see you guys.
Also, I love this guy's take. He did a great series recently on G.I. Joe, on every G.I. Joe movie. And he's also got great stuff on Disney films and other stuff as well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel, Mr. D. Al Vince.
Hey, buddy.
There he is.
Hey. Hey, what's up, guys?
Always
What's going on?
Yeah.
Ready to piss off some people today.
and then also, ladies and gentlemen, you love him, I love him. He's been a great addition to our panels. I love his takes on some stuff. Don't always agree with him on some stuff. In our we have a private thread that a lot of us talk about movie stuff, and you know what? I love the different takes that everybody has in that thread. It's really cool to see sometimes. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be in his neck of the woods here in a couple of weeks. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome Nightstar. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, when are you going to be in Chicago?
The end of this month.
You got it. We got to hook up.
Yeah, man, we're coming in. We're going to be there for a week. We're going to a Cubs game. I've always wanted to go to a Cubs game, and then we're going to hit up all kinds of like toy stores and comic book shops, and I don't know all the details yet, but yeah. So that we're bringing the whole family, and we're gonna come to Chicago. And
I got to take you to this really great place in Lakeview called the Lincoln Tap Room. It's not too far from Wrigley Field, but I mean, if you want to sample some really prime Chicago atmospheric bars, I'd love to treat you and take you there.
Oh, well, we'll have to talk. We'll have to talk for
Sounds
sure.
Good.
All right, guys. So y'all heard my take on it. I figured I'd give my take on it first because everybody's asking me. So I guess I'll just ask you all. I mean, this was the first big, I guess, litmus test for how people were going to react post Snyder cut. So to speak, for a DC movie. I've told people, though, if you thought this one was bad, just wait till The Flash, because that's going to be the one that is going to be really interesting. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Brian, we'll start with you, man. What did you think of the Suicide Squad?
Overall, I loved it. It did its job. Okay. It took me out of my life for 2 hours. And at the end of the day, I mean, if you can get that out of a movie, I think it's done 7 out of 10 of its job. Okay. And as for the rest of it, I really liked it, man. I actually had a little bit of hope kind of going forward with a lot of stuff. Like, I think if they could manage just the balance just right of that lighthearted tone along with, a little bit better. Like I said, yeah, exactly, Investor. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great movie. I'm really looking forward to The Flash now, the Batman. So I mean, I might not be like a super sweaty when it comes to the comic book, material, but I'm definitely enjoying the movies that they've been putting out so far. So, hopefully we get to see some continuation on some other stuff. Like to get to see some more Superman with Henry Cavill. That would be nice. And I'm sure that's in the cards. We just got to wait for it. And I would like to see him interact with Bloodsport. Like, dude, like, wouldn't that be awesome? Like maybe to see the shot, that would be super cool. So there's plenty of opportunity to see more of the Snyder characters, and that's all that matters right now. So
yeah, for sure. Tony, did you have a chance to watch Suicide Squad yet?
No, I have not actually.
well, there you go.
I'm learning a lot from all you guys right now from your takes, so I'm okay with that. Actually, I'm not too worried about it. I really didn't like Suicide Squad 1. Wasn't really impressed with it, but I'm gonna see the second one. Like, I can either just watch it on HBO on my TV, or I can actually go to the theater. So I really actually want to go to the theater and see it. So
yeah,
maybe tomorrow night I might actually go to the theater and see it. just because, hey, I can.
Finally,
great.
right? Finally, yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
saw it. We saw it in the theater, and I think like the scope of like even with like Starro and things like that. Like I feel like it's a good movie to get out to the theater. DL, what did you think of Suicide Squad?
I really enjoyed it. Thought it was such a fun time. This is coming from someone who did not like the theatrical version of Suicide Squad. I felt like there was some really forced humor in there, and you obviously felt the course correction with the studio, and the editing was weird. But with this version of Suicide Squad, I felt like James Gunn did everything that Warner Brothers was trying to do to course correct David Ayer's movie, and it made it work here. The humor, most of the humor worked for me in this movie. The blood and gore was just the right amount. It was glorious. I was invested in pretty much all the characters. I thought all the characters were entertaining. Starro, I thought was great. Like, oh my God, I did not expect for them to handle Starro as well as they did, and I was just happy about that. The movie is not perfect. There's like a couple of things I didn't really care for, didn't enjoy. I didn't care for the subplot with Harley Quinn, but I'm going to avoid spoilers because Tony hasn't seen it. But the subplot with Harley, I didn't care for. There was a couple of deaths that I didn't really like. There was a couple I wish stayed alive, but that's okay. As James Gunn said, don't get too attached. But there was a couple of deaths that I didn't really like. And then what they did with Amanda Waller towards the end, when it came to the climax, it was kind of jarring. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about specifically. But other than that,
dude, don't worry about me, man. I don't care about spoilers. I'm gonna still see the movie. Go.
As somebody who thoroughly dislikes Amanda Waller, I loved it. I was like, yes, finally.
Yeah, I thought she was great. I thought she was fantastic, but I guess that's where she doesn't care about spoilers. When she got knocked the hell out with the golf club, I'm like, okay, okay.
I cheered. I was like, yes, finally, some comeuppance. It was like when the heel wrestler gets his day in the sun. I was like, yes, but I know it's not supposed to be like that. Amanda Waller's like dead. It's like, oh, okay, sorry.
But there's been times though. I mean, I think you're on a delay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am on a delay. Okay. I'm gonna exit out and come back in and see if it improves it. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Right back.
That's fine. No, I think the thing with Amanda Waller was okay, just because I get it. She's a hard nose, she's usually in charge of everything, but there's always a time, and there's always been a time, like when you watch Amanda Waller episodes of like Justice League, the cartoon or different things, where it's like somebody finally gets, like you said, Brian, that kind of like one up on the heel, and is able to kind of put them into place. And I feel like she'll be back better than ever, and she'll be back ready to, take somebody else.
This is nothing against Viola Davis, dude. She does phenomenal job as Amanda Waller. I don't like her in Arrow either. It's just because it's like she's so mean. Like, she'll sentence people to death. It's like, what did you do? He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. She's like the TVA. Like, he's a deviant. Take him out.
Right now, what did you think, Nightstar? What did you think, man?
I have incredibly mixed feelings about this film. So let me share the bad, and then we'll go to the good. First of all, I'm glad I watched this on another friend's HBO Max subscription, and I didn't pay for it, because I have to say, come on, Oreo, he wants to share his thoughts too. For the first probably 45 to 50 minutes of the movie, I was completely unmoved. I didn't feel anything. And I thought that this was, and I come to this as a fan of the original Suicide Squad, although I really would love to see the Ayer cut. That said, too, I felt that this was James Gunn's Quentin Tarantino's Suicide Squad. I felt that I'm not a huge fan of gore, and tonally, this film, for all of the things that people are enjoying it for, just feels so completely out of sync with other DC properties. And I understand Warner Brothers is course correcting and they're trying to go in different directions. I thought Shazam felt completely different tonally to everything that preceded it, whether it was Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, or our favorite Zack Snyder's Justice League. I thought on the good side, Starro was terrifying, and I thought there was a really great use of how to present that character as a threat. Yeah. I thought that Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man were the Flash and Cyborg of Zack Snyder's Justice League. They really provided the heart of the movie, and by the time the last act began, when they were in Corto Maltese is the country?
Yeah, Corto Maltese.
That's when it started working for me, because suddenly all the action came together, and I thought that, and they won me over. So I thought the third act of the film, when everything finally got to where it got, was exciting. But I just thought everything that preceded it, and I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to like it. I went in with an open mind. I mean, I was a little bit upset or disappointed that Warner Brothers is like trying to, I don't know, like purge our consciousness of what David Ayer did. And I got to say also, I'm no David Ayer or Zack Snyder, but I've been in a position as a director where you're given the reins to creatively guide something, and you put your heart and your soul into it, and then other people come out of the woodwork that have no creative bones in their body, and they start to second guess you. And what happened to Snyder with Justice League and Ayer with the first Suicide Squad really touch a nerve with me, because the fact that they gave Gunn all this freedom, and the freedoms that they didn't give Zack Snyder or Ayer when they were second guessing them on their creative vision, that was kind of bittersweet for me. I'm glad that James Gunn got a chance to do what he wanted to do, but can I share something I found on Facebook that really reflects what I think? And I didn't write this, but I will give credit to the writer, Joe Diaz. I found this on Facebook tonight. I think a lot of DC fans still think that Warner has the best interest of the DC characters and authenticity of a director's vision at heart. They don't. What they want are safe, sure-thing investments. Their main concern is meeting projected numbers and pleasing their shareholders so that they can get their bonuses and promotions. Their main concern isn't you, the DC fan. Their main concern isn't DC Comics and the integrity of the characters and history. Their main concern isn't the directors or whatever unique version they may bring to bear. Their main and only concern is money. And what they want is guaranteed money, because Warner Brothers is such a soulless, executive-driven corporation that they're not really in the business of seeing their summer blockbuster fare, especially superhero films, which they still don't really respect as anything to respect. What they want is a guaranteed formula that'll give them guaranteed, predictable, and thus reportable returns on investment. And replicating what has worked before is what they're looking for, which was their big issue with Snyder and Ayer. Too quirky and not in a predictable way. James Gunn and Joss Whedon did exactly what Hamada and Emmerich wanted, give them carbon copies of what they did with Marvel, and what they expect, of course, being visionless corporatist tools, is the same return and results. And obviously anyone with the brain can tell you that isn't what is going to happen when you replicate what has already been done before in a creative medium. And I read that on Facebook, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, I think a lot of us have discussed this direction that Warner Brothers has taken, and how you've got the tonal shifts in movies, and they don't let some directors really go forward, and they don't embrace all directors' creative vision, because they're trying to play catch up with Marvel all the time. And Marvel's not a comedy universe, as some people claim. It's light sometimes, but when everyone says, well, DC's just trying to like copy the comic Marvel universe, Marvel got really dark with Infinity War and Endgame. And had they let Zack continue what he had set out for with Justice League, they wouldn't have like done the first Justice League, second guessing Zack, which was abysmal. Had they let Zack go through and continued to keep this tonal consistency, I think, with the DC universe. So I didn't mean to filibuster, but that's kind of how I look at the whole thing with the Suicide Squad. Yeah, it was entertaining, and there were elements I enjoyed of it, but I think it's really overrated, is how I feel about it in the end here.
Yeah, you know, like so I can see those points. I think I don't know that I agree fully with that statement. But I do agree with the fact that I think tonally they've got a problem with all their films, because none of their films fit a tone.
Yeah,
like it literally.
That's
is
why you've
all
got
over the
Kevin
place.
Feige. It's like they set it up and they follow through, and they have a map. look, Lucasfilm did this with the Star Wars movies. They had no map. And this is what Warner Brothers is now doing with the DC EU movie universe. It's like they keep changing gears to try to catch up, and that's why I think they keep stumbling.
Oh yeah, and Ambassadorial Wing is absolutely right here. He says I talked about this myself. Warner Brothers and DC aren't going to catch up with the MCU, and that should never be their goal. Their goal should not be to somehow to catch up with what the MCU is doing. The MCU has got them beat by over a decade. Like, you're not going to just.
Why worry about it anyway?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And
Yeah,
they do such a disservice. Such a disservice to someone like Snyder or Patty Jenkins with the original Wonder Woman. He set the table, and the money he made Warner Brothers with Watchmen, 300. This is not just some schmuck off the street. This is a guy who is respected. I mean, we don't have to debate that. And to the degree that executives second guess even that is just what's so GD frustrating. And it's like, I don't know that they're ever going to recover in how they keep course.
Well, and that's the thing. So as much as I will say that I enjoyed this film, I absolutely agree in the fact that this movie does not seem to fit in with any other DC film really. And it doesn't continue a tone, and I don't see the other movies coming out continuing a tone either. I mean, Aquaman's got its own tone. Wonder Woman switched tones, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Like harsh, really harsh. You look at Shazam. Now Shazam, I enjoy Shazam, but Shazam's got its own little niche too. Aquaman's got its own niche. And I think that's the problem. It's like, you're not giving consistency. You might have good films on their own. They may be fine on their own. And if you're not going to make it like a consistent universe, I guess they're okay. But it's just weird. It is weird given the fact that we know that they want to catch up so bad, and they want to be where Marvel is, to just be able to put out a movie and not be questioned whatsoever.
If I may about that though. Okay, let's. Right. What's up, Patron?
What the hell? I thought my computer lost connection.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Oh boy.
The Patriot Big Hoss knows everything about inconsistent booking. 1992, I was on a babyface run. They decided to flip me heel midway through. Problem was, nobody got it. I was out of the WCW within a year. But let me tell you something.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Amen, brother. Amen. But it's all about entertainment these days, which draws in the regular people. And hopefully that's what this movie does, because I'm a little afraid going forward about what might become of the DC universe, theatrically speaking.
I'm gonna get off by cranking your knob just a little beyond the breaking point.
Hulk Hogan's a punk.
You come in my face, I'm gonna fight you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna come on you like nobody's ever come on you before. Just you and I getting it on like two men should do.
I love it.
Thank you.
But did any of you guys feel like it was like a Quentin Tarantino?
Yes, I absolutely.
I was like, this doesn't feel like. Literally feel like he was aping Quentin with all of the violence and the gore. And again, I'm not adverse to that, but it was just so over the top. It's like it took me out of it. Bringing attention
out
to
of place.
Yeah,
it really did. Yeah. But no, one of my complaints.
Matt Jarbo says the Patriot Big Hoss. Please make this a new channel persona.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of my new characters. Trust me.
You got to go up against Doomcroc.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I'll pay
we
to do that.
We should do the two figures going together anyway. You know, so you can do it. Big Hoss against fucking Doomcock.
There you go. I like it. I like it.
Slap it once, so you know what's
You don't think I'm big enough, bro? And you grab a hold of me, and you'll know that I'm growing, my man. Within your hands, I will get as big as I need to be to do the job on you.
Yep. So there you go. No, I agree with you, man. It did. There was very much Tarantino style, blood and gore and
For
violence.
shock value.
Yeah. I mean,
What about
King Shark is eating everybody.
I personally didn't think the gore was too much, and I guess it's coming
what
from
about Deadpool though?
Well, Deadpool isn't. Well, yeah, Deadpool, but Deadpool seems to kind of exist out of the other Marvel continuity, or at least it did, until Disney just acquired Fox, and we're expecting maybe to see Deadpool cross over. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a different continuity than the Marvel.
But same kind of violence, though, right?
Go ahead, DL. Go
was.
ahead, DL. I want to make sure DL. I think he may be on a little bit of a thing, but I want to make sure that we don't cut him off.
Yeah, you guys let me know if you guys still feel a lag, because I'm not sure if it fixed it or not. But yeah, I guess I personally didn't feel like the gore was too much. Maybe it was because when I saw a bunch of reviews for it, everyone was saying, "Oh, this is so bloody, and this is like the goriest comic book movie we've seen in years." And so I was expecting something a lot worse. But for me, like, yeah, it was shocking, some of the gore stuff, but like it wasn't enough to be like I feeling like it was distasteful. I guess that's me. I grew up watching stuff that has gore and like horror and stuff like that, so maybe I'm a bit desensitized to it. But it's like I guess I was expecting stuff that was a lot worse. And then you guys were talking about like you feel like there's not a consistent tone with all the DC films. I agree with that, but at the same time, I feel like that's kind of a good thing. I mean, it would be better if DC had a consistent vision all the way through. But I've been saying for the longest time, to have a really great cinematic universe, I don't feel like every movie should adhere to the same tone. You got to have heroes and villains that appeal to different demographics and different ages. Some movies can be rated R, some movies can appeal to families. I think that's truly a good cinematic universe because it doesn't just appeal to one type of fan base. So I like that the Suicide Squad was really violent. And then you have stuff like Shazam that appeals to families, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League that's adult, but it's not as dark as Suicide Squad. And I don't feel like there's that much of a departure where it's like I can't see these characters all being in the same world. But I guess
I could feel the first Suicide Squad existed in the other the existing universe. This just doesn't feel like it fits in the same universe. Maybe that's also because Snyder had a producing hand in the original Suicide Squad. But I mean, the original Suicide Squad feels more organic to fitting since we're seeing some carryover characters, whereas this one didn't as much. And look, it's all subjective. I mean,
yeah,
what does it matter what I think? But I'm curious, Enosh, when you said if people had an issue with this, what they're going to be feeling about The Flash. And I didn't catch your whole review from the beginning of the show, but had you talked a little bit about what you're intimating there as far as...
No, well, look, I just already know because of the things surrounding Ray Fisher. I mean, people are already going off, and I see people on Twitter. I see people on social media and just on other places, people making videos and stuff on YouTube and whatnot. Just basically going off on the fact that they don't feel that this movie has a right to exist alongside of Zack Snyder's work, alongside of David Ayer's work, and I am thankful for the people who I believe came forward in the last few days, given the fact that the James Gunn and others who are associated with the film came out and supported David Ayer, like on the red carpet and things like that, and said hey, yeah, we would love to see David Ayer's vision seen. We want to see the Ayer cut. I want to see the Ayer cut. I want to see that film. And so I am glad that I did see some cooler heads prevail. People said, okay, yeah, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then I saw other people just like, nope, absolutely not. Screw James Gunn, screw them all. They're just there to do nothing but absolutely destroy and utterly destroy Zach and everything. And I don't feel that that's what this film did. I don't feel necessarily that this film was just made just to destroy what came before. But knowing the tensions already when it comes to the topic of Ray Fisher, when it comes to the topic of Zack Snyder and his vision, and given the fact that this is a Flash film, which I'll be honest with you, the Flash between Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League, completely different character.
Yep.
Completely different character in every way. You have somebody in Justice League who is bumbling, tripping over himself, tripping over other people, very unsure of himself, saying, well, I've never fought anything before. It's like, I've just pushed stuff. His claim to fame is he pushes a truck barely out of the way, and like, that's his big moment in the movie. Where Zack Snyder's Justice League, he's an absolute hero of the film.
Yep.
He saves everybody.
Movie,
he turns back time. He's stronger than that. He's still unsure of himself, as he should be, but it's not ridiculous levels of that. It's normal levels of concern and
it's a hero's journey.
Yeah,
it's a hero's journey. You see growth.
Yeah, and you see him grow by the end. My concern is obviously what Flash we're going to get. Now, I've heard rumors that Muschietti, after having seen the Snyder Cut, said, hey, that's what I want my Flash to be like. Who knows? I don't know that Warner
Fingers
Brothers...
crossed.
Fingers crossed. I don't know that Warner Brothers will let him do that necessarily, but I'm interested in seeing it. Also, Ben Affleck coming back. I've seen people, who are just like, this movie is just going to do nothing but, undo Zack stuff. And yeah, there you go. Undo Zack and destroy Zack's, everything. Right.
Yeah.
But I've
maintained
the fact that Ben Affleck didn't have to come back for this film.
Even though he does have I think he was contractually bound though to do at least one more. So maybe, I hope he came back because he wanted to.
Yeah, but we all know too, though. If somebody feels that like that they don't want to, come back. They already let him go as Batman once, right? The only reason he came back was because of Zack Snyder to film the other shots on Zack Snyder's driveway, literally. Yep. And finish up some stuff like that with the nightmare sequence and stuff like that. So they had already gotten rid of him as Batman. So he didn't have to do this. If he came back and he's read the script and there are reports that he changed parts of the script, and that he was given carte blanche to do that. And that's great. And I really hope that that's true, to the effect of like why he's in this film, because I really don't think that knowing Ben's appreciation for Zack, that Ben would just come back just to do a film that just literally just craps all over Zack Snyder.
I agree with you.
At the end of the day, and I'm just trying to be realistic with that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I could be completely wrong. This could just be completely about money for Ben, and Ben could just be coming back just to be Batman one more time and just not care. I just don't see that because I know how passionate Ben is about being Batman.
I think after Justice League, he just completely washed his hands. And that also had a lot to do with the way Warner's did him dirty with developing his solo Batman standalone movie. But I think with the opportunity to come back with Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I think it reignited in him what he loves about doing Batman. And I like to think, from what I read about Affleck, that I think that there's some character and integrity to his approach with reviving playing the role. So I think you're right. I think that Ben's reasons for coming back were are well-intentioned and not because of a contractual obligation. And given the fact they let him make some changes to the script, I just hope that there's something in the Flash that's going to allow the door to stay open for him in the future, because we've heard a lot of rumors about this is going to eliminate some of the universes in the DC multiverse because they're bringing in Michael Keaton, and who knows what the hell's going to happen. But I just hope the door's left open because I don't know. I'm a huge Batfleck fan, so as you can.
Oh, me too. So the thing is I feel that there's that, and then I just know that there's a segment of people who, unless Zack Snyder comes back and writes, produces, and directs everything going forward and everything else is absolutely done away with, they are never going to be happy.
Yeah.
And look, I've gone on record as saying that's not me.
That's a long road to hoe, my friend.
That's not what I'm saying when I say that I want to restore the Snyderverse. That's not what I'm saying at all. All I'm saying is I want to see the films that Zach had planned done. And I'm even saying, and from what I've heard, even the thought is that if it does happen, Zach may not even direct. Zach may produce a Justice League 2 or 3 or a show, that tells those stories. So, who knows, right? Who knows? But I'm not fighting to undo everything that is coming up and down the pike. I feel like everybody has a right to be able to see the types of heroes that they like and that they enjoy. All I'm saying is don't destroy what I love and enjoy too.
Yeah.
But I feel that there's going to be people who absolutely lose their mind over the Flash. Like they're waiting right now. I guarantee you, there are people right now in waiting for when that Flash movie comes out because they just plan on absolutely, destroying it. Trying to destroy it or trying to level it before it even comes out. Whether it's review bombing, whether it's whatever. Like there are people, ladies and gentlemen, who are systematically just like, we're going to hate this movie no matter what. You know what I mean? Zack Snyder could be in the film and be like, hey guys, I'm Zack Snyder from Zack Snyder's Justice League in the multiverse, and like, hey, I wrote a movie about you guys. And you know what? This is okay. And I'm cool with all this. And there would still be people who are pissed off. So,
It's like, you might remember me from my scene drinking coffee.
Right.
In my Justice League.
I think I must admit I'm probably just very spoiled by the fact we've had consistency in the Marvel comic universe, and being a DC fan as much, I had hoped that there would be a similar type of consistency, at least in a roadmap. But that we're not getting that. I'm certainly not advocating that these other films can't or shouldn't exist. Just been spoiled by what Marvel did, what Kevin Feige did with Marvel, and in bridging everything together.
Sure. Good night, James. Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. I agree. I'd love to see consistency, but again, I see that there's room for different types of films, but like you said with like the MCU, I think there's different types of films. There's there's different tones. But the DC ones to me, and DL, you mentioned that like you didn't see it as much, so maybe I'd love to hear more from you about your take on that, because like I do feel that like all the takes just seem so radically different. Do you have a different feel about that?
Radically different. There's probably only like a couple of movies that I feel like is radically different, like Justice League. That's the one that really sticks out to me the most. And then maybe Wonder Woman 1984. And I would say like Aquaman, like script wise, this is mostly consistent, but like as far as the aesthetic and stuff like that, it's not.
Yeah.
But it's like, as far as like in general, I don't feel like it's that much of a, I don't feel like it's that jarring of a difference between the movies. I think it's just like I just want to see consistency with continuity. That's my main issue with it. But as far as the tone and stuff like that, I mean, I'm fine with it. As I said, it's like they are different from each other. But I personally feel like it's not enough to be like, oh, I don't believe that Polka Dot Man could be in the same world as Wonder Woman. It's like I don't feel it's that much of a stretch, really.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll say this. I'll say this about that, because I think you bring up a really good point. I didn't give a crap about Polka Dot Man before this film, right? Like
I didn't even know who he was.
I laughed at the very idea of putting Polka Dot Man in a film, in a live action DC film. And I'll be honest with you, I loved Polka Dot Man in this film.
He subverted our expectations for sure. I agree with you, Inosh. He was like such a bright bright character along with Ratcatcher, who I knew nothing about either. It's like they were the heart.
Ratcatcher was the other one. Like I was really like Ratcatcher, really? Ratcatcher 2? Like I was making the same statement that's actually made in the movie. Like,
who's the hell's the first one?
We literally have Ratcatcher 2. Like, not Ratcatcher, just Ratcatcher 2. Like, what the heck does that even mean? You know, and but it's like, yeah, you know, totally won me over. Great character.
Yeah.
So, Mega Podtastic. I always got to give Joe a hard time. I just got to give him a hard time. I don't think you're a DCEU fan though, because I don't know how you cannot be a fan of Man of Steel or Zack Snyder's Justice League, and like that is the DCEU. I don't even think that the new films are like even fall under that banner of the DCEU. They've tried to call it so many different things. I mean, the DCEU was made up of those original, those original films, I guess. But you know, I don't know.
Anything that's DC in it has to be included. That's it. That's how it works now.
So does that mean Joker is included in it?
No,
Sure does.
no,
Everything.
no.
All the way back to
Not,
Richard
not,
Donner's
no, wait,
Superman,
not the one with like
teleplays on the radios, everything.
Yeah.
I guess like
damn, the Patriot always gets in there.
It's
eh?
all canon.
Yeah, I mean, Taika Waititi is
thought that was
Ratcatcher 1. That was
Ratcatcher,
interesting. That was an interesting dynamic in the movie.
The joke that kept giving was the mother's joke. I swear, every single time I saw it, I laughed so damn hard. It was like, I'm sorry, man. It's just hilarious.
Enoch, I just sent you a private chat. I don't know if you can share that, but it was kind of relevant to what we're talking about.
If it's Robot Chicken, I probably don't. Oh, the Starro attacks thing. Yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah, I've seen the Star.
I thought I came across it today. I mean, anybody can find it on YouTube, but Robot Chicken did his Starro attacks against the Justice League, and I'm like, Jesus, did James Gunn just like crib Robot Chicken as far as the final attack?
Very much so. It's a great point because like it even has Harley Quinn in it and some others. I mean, so yeah, it's
Starro hitting everybody's faces, and I mean, I know that's in the comic books, but it's worth checking out. Not now, later.
yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, I just don't want to risk getting. I swear to God,
I know.
I swear, I have never seen a time like right now where literally Warner Brothers is going crazy about trying to literally hit everybody with copyright strikes and stuff. It's like I've never seen a time really where you just showed a picture of a movie to be able to like just do a commentary on it and just say, hey, look at this picture that came out, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like copyright strikes on pictures. Like, what the heck is going on? I don't know what the heck's going on.
They don't seem to remember there's a concept called fair use when you're discussing something, and the lawyers there just because they've got the money and the power and the time and the resources, it's intimidation to just shut anybody down that they don't want to present something that they feel might violate their intellectual property or show them in a bad light, even if it's not showing them in a bad light. It has gotten out of control, especially on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, isn't it? And they make YouTubers feel like you know, you don't even want to take the risk. You know what I mean? Because you don't know if you're going to be able to fight it or not, if they're going to let it go, if they're not going to let it go, you know, because there's different types, you know, there's some strikes where you can actually fight it. And then there's some strikes that's just a takedown and you can't even fight it. You're just screwed.
Did that strike you talked about, I think it was about a month ago, resolve itself? Was it just a phony claim?
Yep. It was a phony claim.
Okay.
Yep, it was a phony claim, but that was the thing, you know, we talked about those flash pictures. And somebody, you know, but that goes back to what I was saying, though. So that was literally somebody who just didn't like the fact that I was saying that these flash pictures looked cool.
It's garbage, man. Who was it?
I don't know for sure who it was. I can't tell you for sure who it was. I've got my suspicions of who it was. But
Okay.
but that's the thing. It's like, you know, it was a phony thing, and you know, just people who didn't like the fact that I said, hey, I think that these, you know, photos of Supergirl look fine, and you know, and these things look cool, you know. I'm sorry, I'm a DC fan. I don't know what people expect out of people. Like,
See, that's the whole thing. It's like at the end of the day, are you a DC fan or are you an only Snyder fan, and that's it?
I'm a fan of both. I love Zack Snyder stuff. I love Zack Snyder's vision for DC. That is my preferred vision for DC.
Yeah.
Is Zack Snyder stuff.
But
But
either
I'm
way,
also
you
a
like
DC fan.
DC. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
So, but if you put Michael Keaton in a Flash movie back as Batman, I don't care if the guy's 70 years old. Batman '89 is one of my favorite films of all time. I'm gonna be
squirting for sure.
curious. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be curious, and I'm gonna want to see what that's all about. So, you know, I don't know. It's interesting, but I think overall, I mean, let's go around and hear what you give. I mean, Brian, what do you give out of 10 to Suicide Squad?
It was a good solid 8. I mean, you know, it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't horrible. I mean, you know, a good solid B. Yeah, I can't complain. I enjoyed it. It took me out of my life for a couple hours, like I said. It might have been a little on the vulgar side. I think you can get a lot of story told without, you know, cussing every other word, and you know. So I mean, like you said about the Quentin Tarantino thing, I get where you're coming from. I was like, you know, it's this isn't Reservoir Dogs, man. It's the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
It's like. I was just waiting for somebody to come out and say, "I'm the cleaner."
Well, you know, it's interesting because I mentioned to Dawson today. Dawson in our private chat, like Dawson was pretty hot and heavy about this thing, but Dawson and I, like we were texting back and forth too, and like, you know, and he was talking about, you know, Justice League and stuff, and I told him, I said, look, there are scenes in Justice League that I enjoy. I know it's a hot take that everybody wants to hate on the Batman rooftop scene, but that Batman rooftop scene reminds me of Batman '89, like a lot of it, right? Like, and I told him, I said, are there stupid things like you know, the parademon blowing up and like showing the symbol? Yeah. Are there stupid things in it? For sure. I can't explain to you why I like it. I just kind of dig it. It's just kind of like one of those scenes that's like, hey, that's Batman. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's the greatest scene ever made and put to film. It's just...
It was our chance to see Batman operating solo again, and it just removed the BS with the parademon boxes on the wall. I agree. It was a well produced scene. It didn't fit with where we saw, you know, Zach's intentions were later, but it was cool to see Ben doing a Batman little solo thing in the beginning there, because we never had a chance to see that outside of Batman versus Superman or what he was going to do with his solo film.
Exactly. DL, what would you give Suicide Squad out of 10?
Before I get into that, I agree with you. I even like the Superman and Flash end
Yes.
credit scene in Justice League.
Yes.
So I hated Superman.
I want to find out who won the race.
Yeah,
we all want to know.
Yeah. But overall, I still really enjoyed the film. I totally get if people say, you know, it's too violent and vulgar, and you know, they feel like it doesn't really fit with how they see Suicide Squad. I get it, but for me, like, I like that there's a more adult version of, you know, these characters. I think this fits with Suicide Squad personally, since this is the movie about super villains and stuff like that. I like that they were able to get violent, and the humor for the most part worked for me. As I said, there was a couple of deaths I wish didn't happen, didn't care for the Harley subplot and stuff like that, but overall I think this is a good DC film. I don't know why people are hating, so it will be like a 8.9 out of 10. If it was my grade, I will say that The Suicide Squad is greatness.
Ooh.
Nice. I like
and
that.
Night Star, what do you give the film?
So I want to reiterate something a couple of people in the chat are saying, and I will say this: The Boys does The Suicide Squad better. I would give it a 7. I mean, I didn't hate it, but again, I do think it's overrated. I enjoyed it in the final act, but it was the journey getting there that I feel like I should have been more engaged in.
Mm-hmm. And that's fine. Everybody's going to get something, you know, I mean,
I give it credit. It's beautifully produced. I mean, it's amazing.
I'll tell you tomorrow.
Visually, it's amazing.
All right, yeah, and Tony, you tell us tomorrow. Gavin says he gives it a 6.7. Mary Wilcox gave it a 3 out of 10. Ill Life gave it a 4 out of 10. And those are people that I respect. And you know what? I get it. Everybody's gonna get something different out of
Everyone
it.
has different tastes.
Everybody does, and you know that's why the lounge. You know, here Slimmin says 7.9. Like everybody's going to have a different take, and that's what's I think that's what's great about the lounge is that everybody comes, you know, from a different place. You got to, it's jumping around here. 7 out of 10 here from Nova Joe. Josh here gives it an 8.6. Yeah. Zeno says 9.99999999999999999. Luke, what's up, Luke, bro? Says 8 out of 10. Polo Quan or Quane says 5 out of 10. Benemus gives it a 8.9. Degrassi, I'm not gonna be able to get to everybody. But just tell that to my mom. She gave it a 0.5 out of 10. That's harsh. Jeez, that's harsh.
Must have been the language.
Maybe,
yeah.
Maybe.
The language and the gore her mom didn't like.
Maybe, jeez.
All the mom hate.
The mom hate, yeah.
All the mom hate, yeah, exactly. I thought that was
hilarious. That was pretty.
I thought that was pretty.
Hands on that girl,
man.
As Starro, I laughed my ass off. I was like, "Oh my god, they did it!"
I thought it was depressing. Like how you just like, I just want to float in the stars. I was happy there. It's kind of depressing because it's like America's messed them up.
You felt bad for. I mean, hey, I actually had a little bit of empathy for Starro. Starro was the tragic victim in this whole scenario.
Yeah, he didn't want to come out. The American just snatched him up, and now he's just doing his thing. It's kind
Black
of
Ops. Black Ops, welcome, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
What do you give it out of 10?
I mean, definitely, I would say agree with Brian and a lot of the other people. I would say a solid 8 out of 10. I mean, it was pretty good. I think they nailed the characters pretty well. I really thought it was a good, decent story. I mean, there's some parts of it that I didn't like. I mean, but overall, I thought it was a very solid film for what it was. I think his style really worked with the cast and kind of the characters that were involved in the story. But I don't think this type of style and all that stuff should transfer over to other characters in films. So that's all I got to say. It's just like with certain directors and their style, it fits with certain characters. And I think what he does well is with these kind of side characters, I guess, because Suicide Squad is not like really like the main cast.
Yeah,
like the Justice League, I think he does really well with kind of these side characters and kind of building them up and all that. So I think, yeah, if he's working on another project, I hope it's another side character. I hope he's not doing kind of bigger people, more important people, because if he does and he kind of uses his style like he did for this movie, I don't know if he'll hit right with me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, I don't think that this should be the feel for all of DC movies going forward. I think that would be a huge mistake and a disservice to the DC universe. But for some reason it works for me with this. Like, and I mean, like Starro even. Starro is like a villain. Like I've heard people say Starro should have been left for the Justice League. I don't see. Look, I appreciate Starro. I know that there's a lot of Starro fans out there.
But I feel like Superman would be too OP on him. Like,
but especially after like Nightstar shared with us, you know, like, and I've seen it before the robot chicken thing with Starro. Like, I'm sorry, like I don't see, like you said, Brian, I don't see Superman having any issue with Starro.
Superman would launch him back out into space where he'd be happy.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, so
and throw him away.
I don't know. Like, I feel like the way they portrayed Starro in this movie, I feel like this could be a decent threat for the Justice League. But you do bring up some point Superman could just fly him off into space and he'll be done.
Well, I see, and the reason why I don't think so, DL, is because like most of the people who took on Starro are like non-powered people. Like they're, you know, I mean, like the one of the things that I really did appreciate about this movie was it was a bunch of villains who were mostly non-powered. Sure, you had Polka Dot Man who had some kind of powers, but most of the
tore up Starro too. He just like used his polka dots and tore off a little bit of them.
Yeah, but most of the Suicide Squad in this movie didn't even have powers. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the first Suicide Squad movie where you had Diablo and Enchantress and and stuff like that, where they had actual powers
or metas, basically.
Yeah. I mean,
why does people just use gadgets?
Plus, I don't see anyone in the Justice League doing Amanda Waller's bidding. If anything, they would probably expose what she's doing. So, I mean, I think Starro was really well used in this. I mean, it fit what this type of a DC superhero movies needs.
And just remember that this whole operation was to cover up the U.S.'s involvement in it, so they won't even let the Justice League know, because they would probably expose it.
Yeah,
they would do what Flag would do.
Exactly.
Especially Superman, because Superman's all about the truth and all that stuff, and that's probably why.
He would have thrown Amanda Waller into space, is what Superman would have done.
Yeah, right. So this is the one thing I'll say before we transition here, real quick. Luke, this is what I usually tell people. Every movie that you end up having an opinion on, watch it at least twice.
Yeah,
watch it at least twice, because the first time you watch a film, there are so many things that you're gonna miss, no matter how much you pay. I pay attention to films, folks, like details, right? But the second time you watch a film, even if it's a film you don't think you liked at first, the second time you watch it, you will catch things that you absolutely missed, and there may be actual plot points that you missed that actually make the film better. This was a thing that, when we talk about Batman v Superman, for example, Batman v Superman is the ultimate example of this for me, that I tell people about all the time,
100%.
because people go in and things happen in Batman v Superman that all of a sudden they start tuning stuff out, pieces of dialogue that are very, very vital to why the characters act in a certain way or do a certain thing in the film. And if you tune that out, you're missing out, So I tell everybody, watch it twice. You still may not like it, right? You still may come out of it going, nope, this ain't for me. This ain't for me at all. But I always say, give it a second watch, and then have your opinion, right? So.
Or if you watch it the first time and you think you really like it, and then you watch it a second and third time and it gets bad for you. So that happens as well.
Yes, it does. Justice League was that for me. The first time I saw Justice League,
Totally.
I was excited with my kids because we were seeing our heroes on the screen for the first time like that. And I came back and I was like, hey, it was so cool to see all this. Well, then the second and third and fourth time that I watched Justice League, I was like, I liked it less each time. And then it was just like, wow, this really isn't good at all, is it? There are these issues. And so I totally get you. Real quick, I do want to transition to stuff. Thank you guys for all your opinions on that. I do have a couple other things that I'd like to get your opinions on. South Park. Are you guys South Park fans?
Yes.
Nope.
I am, but I haven't watched it for a while to know what's happening with it.
Same.
Okay.
Oh wow!
So,
I was watching it casually.
I am a huge South Park fan. I remember the first time because I'd watched South Park, when it first came out and everything, but I'll never forget there was a moment where I finally watched South Park and I saw it for what it was. That it's not just a mindless cartoon. It's a commentary on society and where we're at now. I will say this: in the last couple years, it's gotten a little different, because I don't think it's been as edgy, and I think that I think it's been a little self-serving to its creators, as far as different things that they wanted to tell, and I'm hoping that they get a little bit of their edge back. Every once in a while, you still see it in there. I don't think that it's like some other shows. Actually, for a show that's been on as long as it's been on, I don't think that it. I mean, it's definitely not like The Simpsons, for example, that has absolutely lost all of its edge. I mean, I hear people say that it still has moments or whatever, but I feel like South Park still has more of its edge, than anything. I just saw something, and before actually we talk about this, this wasn't a thing for tonight, but where did it go? Where's Ill Life's comment here? You know what, Ill Life? So I saw this. I don't know if any of you guys watched The Whitest Kids You Know. It was on, was it IFC, Independent Film Channel? But it was it's a comedy troupe. Whitest Kids You Know, hilarious stuff. Trevor Moore, who was one of the main guys in the comedy troupe, he's 41 years old and he passed away this week.
Oh,
And they haven't really released why. They're just saying it's an accident right now, but it's very sad. Actually, when Tiffany and I got married, when we got married on a beach and we played music, on the beach, and when we walked back up, past everybody, we played the theme song to The Whitest Kids You Know. Which people didn't know what it's the raunchiest cartoon or raunchiest sketch comedy thing you ever meet. But the theme song goes do 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 do. My voice is totally gone, but you get the idea. It's just this cute little thing and stuff. So nobody knew the difference, and so we thought it was hilarious. But yeah, Trevor, thank you, Ill Life, for bringing that up because Trevor will definitely be missed. I really enjoyed his comedy over the years, and so yeah, thank you so much, Gavin. I appreciate the support for sure. Says Enosh, have to get going. Stay awesome, man. You're always being positive vibes to your fans. Much love. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, Gavin. And Toronto Freddy with a $2 Canadian super chat. Thank you, Toronto Freddy. Says can't wait to see the sequel villain. Stajarbo.
Wow.
I'm trying to I'm trying to figure out what Stajarbo would look like, but we'll I guess we'll have to wait for that. Yeah, Ill Life. Yeah, I've been a big Tiffany and I have been big Whitest Kid You Know fan. We what we used to do when Tiffany and I were dating. We lived an hour apart, and this was like 2010 when we started dating. 2011, actually 2011. What we would do is we would DVR our favorite shows, and we would get on the phone and we would count down. We go 3, 2, 1, and we would watch our favorite shows and everything together at the same time. And that was how we did our long distance relationship thing was to watch stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, but that being said, Miss March was a funny movie. Yes. And Jacob says, wow, I'm as old as South Park. So I was kind of shocked about this because the guys have talked about, like, in recent years, they've kind of acted like Trey and Matt have kind of acted like they were kind of wanting to wrap stuff up, and that they weren't as excited about doing this anymore. But according to this report in Variety, they're going to be around for a while. As the South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone have set an expansive new deal with Viacom, MTV Entertainment Studios, that calls for the pair to produce 14 movies for Paramount Plus, based on the enduring Comedy Central animated franchise. Now, I will say this: they say 14 movies, and that may seem like huge, but South Park has been known for in the last few years, like putting like double
special.
back to back episodes, right? Or like 3 episodes together, and then they present them as a movie, right? Like there's the Imagination Land one. There's the the one that's like Game of Thrones and stuff. And so it's like it makes it look like it's a movie, but it's really like 3 episodes put together. So maybe that's what this, I don't know, maybe it's actual films for Paramount Plus. But it says the pact also renews South Park as a series for Comedy Central through its 30th season. 30 seasons, guys, in 2027. Bloomberg News reported that the deal is valued at $900 million over the 6-year term. That's an eye-popping number that includes the license fees for 14 movies and 3 additional 10-episode seasons of South Park, the series, produced through the pair's Park County banner. It's understood that the deal calls for Viacom CBS to advance Parker and Stone $150 million a year to cover their fees for the upcoming productions, as well as their ongoing profit participation stakes from the franchise. That deal puts a $1 billion plus valuation on Park County, which also encompasses Parker and Stone's Broadway smash, The Book of Mormon, Park County is surely going to be a target for IP-hungry investors, especially with the promise of a contractually obligated $150 million in cash flowing into its coffers every year. The rich pact for Park County comes on the heels of the sale of Reese Witherspoon's Hello Sunshine to the private equity-backed content venture that Disney alums Kevin Mayer and Tom Staggs are assembling. That deal, however, involved more stock and less cold cash than Parker and Stone are set to receive. Matt and Trey are world-class creatives who brilliantly use their outrageous humor to skewer the absurdities of our culture, and we are excited to expand and deepen our long relationship with them to help fuel Paramount Plus and Comedy Central. So I mean, they're going to be developing new IP. And yeah, the show's going to be running for at least 3 more seasons, and if not more. And that's a lot of money. What do you guys think about that?
It sounds like a very spadoinkle day indeed. That's awesome. I hope they can actually like branch it off into some of the other movies, like some of their live action stuff. I'd love to see a basketball sequel.
Heck yeah.
Basketball was one of my favorite movies. I loved Cannibal the musical. That was one of my favorites. That was their first like movie outside. They did it with Trauma, Lloyd Kaufman or whatever, the Toxic Avenger guy. Yep. And so like that movie was great. Orgasmo was awesome. That's another one. Yeah, to Team America.
Oh heck yeah.
I want to see another Team America type of movie from them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah,
America,
and just imagine how that would go over today. Like, oh my gosh!
You wonder if they could get away with that kind of humor today. There's so much,
highly doubtful.
You couldn't make an Austin Powers movie today.
No, you really couldn't.
I don't think that. No, that would not go over too well.
I wonder if they could get away with it, though. I wonder if they get away with more Team America type movies. I mean, South Park's still on. It's completely politically incorrect. And I have to admit, I haven't seen it in a long time. I didn't realize it was even still on, even though I was a fan of it. You know, back in the day, I've got to start looking for more current episodes. But with the way that the world is now with political correctness, when they say movies, I wonder if they mean theatrical or if they're just going to be limited to online streaming.
Well, it says for Paramount Plus, so
for their streaming service. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. So, look, I agree with you. I love the one thing that I love most about them is their like absolute disregard for all things politically correct.
Subversive humor. Subversive humor is the best.
Yeah, this is it right here. They don't care.
Literally, they don't.
That.
They do every joke. They do every joke out there. They don't hold back.
I've had many a conversation with people who are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you're a minister and you watch South Park." Yep. You know why? Because I can poke fun at myself just as much as anyone else, and it doesn't matter to me if you know what the case is. The truth is the truth, you know. And I love the fact that they don't just go after one group or one religion or one political faction or whatever. They literally go after everybody.
Look, the best and funniest comedy comes from truth.
Yes.
Our comedians are literally our modern day truth tellers. You can't get the truth on the news. You get the truth from comics and comedians and comedy and humor.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of political correctness, I say that this is not really political correctness, but I'm interested in what this means. Did you guys see the movie Chronicle?
Yeah.
Okay, I really liked Chronicle. Did you guys like Chronicle?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
It was solid.
I didn't think Chronicle needed to be a found footage movie.
Yeah,
it's like they were jumping on the bandwagon of, everybody's found footage, so we have to do a found footage. And that actually like distracted me from, they could have just done this as a normally photographed narrative film. That's the only thing that took me out of it. But I thought it was, the story was solid.
It's just kind of aesthetic at the time and kind of like a lot of like Blair Witch and all that stuff. I don't know if it came out around the same time, but it was kind of like the same movie at the time.
It was a big thing. Now, I'll tell you a film that pulled off found footage really well was, J.J. Abrams produced it. Cloverfield.
Cloverfield, yeah.
Cloverfield pulled it off well. Chronicle not so much, and I think Chronicle came after the movie I just said, and I'm forgetting the.
Why did you say that?
So I think Chronicle came after Cloverfield. Maybe they were trying to, Blair Witch, then Cloverfield, then Chronicle. Yeah, it was just this whole cycle of that's the hot style to try to emulate. Some pulled it off well, others didn't. But yeah, this is interesting. It's in development with a female lead.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how they do this.
I wonder if they bring back the guy who survives at the end of the movie who killed his friend.
I don't even remember the original. I'm going to have to go back and watch it just to prepare myself for reading the story or the details to know how it could continue.
Yeah, because at the very end, I mean, there's I think it was 3 people that were involved and had the superpowers. It was Michael B. Jordan, another guy, and then what's his name? The guy from Cure for Wellness or something like that. That kind of creepy movie. Yeah. So eventually. So by the end, I can't remember what the actor's name was or his character's name, but one of the guys survives, and that's kind of how it ends. He kills his friend who kind of turned evil and kind of uses powers, I guess.
So is the guy who is the character that survives kind of like leaning towards the Brightburn type of character?
No. He killed he killed the guy.
Okay.
He killed the guy that was kind of leaning towards the Brightburn.
That was the threat. Okay.
So to answer this question that was asked in the chat as far as what Chronicle is and where people can watch it.
It's on HBO Max, I believe.
It's on HBO Max, but so I just did a search for it, and apparently it's on several.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so this is weird. I'm seeing that it's on Netflix. I don't know if that's true. But it also says it's on Prime. It says it's on Prime Video.
Well,
and then here's one that says it's on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
There's no way that's on Disney Plus.
It says platforms Netflix and Disney Plus. I know that it's on HBO Max because we just watched. Yeah, we just watched it with. We literally just watched it with the boys, our kids, not the boys, the TV show. Our kids.
This headline is interesting though. Chronicle sequel in development with female lead. I would think the story is just there's a Chronicle sequel in development. I mean, that's what I'd expect to see, and then that there's a female lead would be in the body of the article. But it's interesting that seems to be what they got to hit us over the head with. I'm all for female leads, but I do think that this kind of
it is weird.
It does lean in that direction that's what it's all about. It's like, why does it have to just be about that? I mean, Wonder Woman had a great female lead. I mean, we had so many great movies with great female leads. Why do you have to just lean on that instead of just say we're developing a sequel? And here's
I have a feeling
female empowerment.
I think it's probably going to be like the similar situation as Chronicle, but like new people that find this kind of mysterious rock. Because what happens, how they got their powers is they fell into a cave and found this like weird like orb or something like that like was kind of like having a weird sound to it, and then all of a sudden it just like blew up or something. I can't really remember, but I think they're probably going to move into a new direction and basically kind of like do a sequel where they forget about the new characters. It's kind of probably take place after the first one, and it's going to be kind of like a while or a long time after that happened, and it's kind of like out of the news, and all of a sudden these new people and then this new female lead will take kind of like the helm of it and be kind of that new crew that gets the powers.
And again, I have no problem with that, unless I sound like Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers. I'm not coming to this with his perspective. But seriously, it doesn't matter to me whether it has a female lead or male lead. It's a superhero story. So
it's
this
a movie.
just to demonstrate like where people do have some. I think that there's some truth in how some stories like this are agenda driven.
If you believe Doomcock's rumors, that's great. I don't.
I don't know about this film. I mean, I'm definitely interested in it, but I don't really could care less about you know, if it's a female lead or not.
Well, so this makes an interesting point. So it talks about, for those of you who don't know what Chronicle is. Chronicle, first of all, Chronicle is a great movie as far as I'm concerned. But it's the 2012, I should say, found footage movie. Chronicle was huge upon its release, kickstarting the career of director Josh Trank. Now, obviously, he kind of tried to derail his own future there. He got that Fantastic Four reboot, and but you can make an argument though, because there's many people who say that his half of that movie, because they came in and changed his movie, so people have said that his half of that movie was just fine.
But here's my thing with that. If you look at the tone and aesthetic of that movie, it does not fit Fantastic Four. I was shocked
agree.
that they got him to do this movie.
But the original Fantastic Four movies kind of fit the aesthetic, and people hated the original ones also.
Yep.
So it's like, where is the middle ground for Fantastic Four? I mean, I remember the John Byrne run of Fantastic Four.
I like
a movie done like the John Byrne run back in the 80s.
Right. If they had the tone, like the aesthetic of the Tim Story movies, and actually had a better written story, it would have been a perfect Fantastic Four movie. Those Tim Story films are just sitcoms that are disguising themselves as superhero movies. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But like,
Too
it
goofy.
wasn't anything to do with the aesthetic. But yeah, Josh Trank doing Fantastic Four. No,
Well,
I don't want to
so-
do director's cut.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Chronicle was literally the best return on investment any of my movies ever made. Davis told Forbes, Chronicle we did for $12 million, and it grossed $126.64 million worldwide. Then it had a huge afterlife in syndication. It's one of the most financially successful movies in my stable. We're working on Chronicle 2 right now, and I think it's going to be great. We're working with it at Fox, 20th Century Studios. It's going to give us a chance to tell the story in a different way. We're going to tell it from the female point of view. The first one had 3 guys. It says it will have been 10 years since the event happened in Seattle. You got to watch the movie to know what that means. And a lot of it's going to deal with fake news and real news and cover-ups. I actually kind of like that idea.
That sounds cool.
More interestingly, it's the next generation getting these powers that are corruptive. These are young women just finishing college. They are empowered, and this is their journey. I mean, what a new and interesting story you can tell there. It seems unlikely that the new version of a Chronicle sequel will be using any of the previously developed scripts. They've been trying to get this movie off for a while, actually, but original screenwriter Max Landis wrote a draft for a sequel, but in the years since the film was released, has been accused of sexual and emotional abuse by multiple women. So, yeah, there goes that. Another reason for that a sequel to Chronicle didn't happen sooner, though, is that Josh Trank himself, who directed the film, attempted to disrupt development at every turn. He says, I made it difficult for them to set up meetings. Trank told Polygon last year, I was dodgy about stuff. I did a lot of crappy things because I really didn't ever want to see Chronicle 2 happen. That was my worst nightmare. First of all, I'm not doing it. Second, if somebody else does it, then you know it's going to be a piece of crap. Time will tell if he was right. Yeah. So, yeah. So Josh Trank didn't want to...
that seems kind of
Yeah, didn't want to see it done, man. So I don't know. I really liked Chronicle.
Yeah, the first one was pretty good. I liked it.
I thought it was a good film. I thought Michael B. Jordan is great in it, and like you said, like the way that it ends with the guy, going off around the world doing his thing. I would love to see them bring that guy back because that guy's still out there somewhere. He's still doing his thing, So
I hope they do.
It sounds like they're not going to do that at all, though. They're just.
I know.
It's
and I don't know.
It sounds like Ghostbusters 2016 to me.
Like, how do you not mention that one guy who's still alive that has his powers and was from the original crew? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense of how you do that. You're absolutely right. So
a continuation, that's the thing. Is like, look, that's fine. All female. If Ghostbusters 2016 had included the original actors playing the original characters involved in the story of this new crew that was taking on the Ghostbusters franchise, I would have been fine with it. But the total disregard for what came before, like in this case, Chronicle was a great movie. Why disregard what happened there? If you want to bring in the female leads, great. Have some kind of a link with what preceded it. Bridge the two, because this is all dependent on the fact that there is obviously an audience recognition with the original Chronicle, as there should have been with the original Ghostbusters, and thankfully we're going to be getting Afterlife, but took too long to get there after the misfires of what they thought was the right way to go with Ghostbusters 2016, disregarding the fantastic source material.
No, I agree. So The Rock has apparently held talks with Marvel about joining the MCU, but he's not going anywhere, folks. He is sticking with DC. He is planted his feet firmly with DC, and he is wanting to stay with DC, apparently. So, look, I know that he's very committed to the Black Adam movie. Him and Garcia have been working on this. Here it says there are no plans to bring The Rock to the MCU. Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Feige have a great relationship, and we flirted around with a few ideas before, but nothing serious. Garcia said there's a mutual admiration for what we each have been doing, and what Kevin has built over there is truly incredible. Ultimately, though, for us, we've always been very committed to what we wanted to build with Black Adam. His response suggests that there have been discussions between the two parties. That said, not many actors have jumped between the competing cinematic universes. Those who have typically played a relatively minor role in at least one universe, if not both. For example, Zachary Levi in Shazam in the DCEU, but also the Asgardian Fandral in Thor: The Dark World and Thor: Ragnarok. And then there's Lawrence Fishburne, who appeared in Ant-Man and the Wasp, as well as Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice. It's hard to imagine The Rock being anything less than an Avenger in the MCU, though. I don't know who he would play, but okay. Black Adam was the character we wanted to bring to life. Who?
I was just going to say very quick, for everyone saying that he should be the Thing, stop. Please stop.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
Namor is an interesting choice, although I always envision Namor as being a little bit leaner and not as bulky as. The thing I love Dwayne Johnson, but his whole turn as Black Adam, all the publicity he does for it, I know he's excited about it, but I sometimes get the sense that Dwayne thinks that Black Adam is a character that should supersede Superman in the DCEU. Yeah. I mean, all the publicity he does, it's like the shift of power is going to Black Adam, and blah, blah, blah. Great. But it's like, dude, Superman's like the lead in the DC universe. So just kind of,
they can fight. They can fight. It'll be a good fight.
Yeah, it would.
But in the end, Black Adam ain't going to be walking away from that as the.
I don't think he thinks that, though, Enosh.
Yeah, I know it. Well, I tweeted him. Was it last week? And I said, hey, all this talk about the shift in power or whatever. I said, you better hope that the Snyderverse continues. I said, because if you fight a Superman other than Henry Cavill, ain't nobody buying that, buddy.
It's over.
Yeah, and he can fight any Superman he wants, but can you imagine The Rock taking on like
Tyler Hoechlin,
or just like anybody new that they decide to put in that role? Heck,
well,
no.
luckily,
there ain't nothing shifting with that.
Buddy. Luckily, Cavill and Johnson, I think, are represented by the same management or agent, so I don't think that they would betray Cavill. If anything were to move forward with the possibility of seeing Black Adam fighting Superman, I don't think Cavill's agent, who's also Johnson's agent, would allow anything other than Cavill to be in that mix. I hope. I mean, that's kind of how Hollywood works.
I mean, if the person represents both of them, of course they're going to try to push them both in there because they benefit from it. They
make more money too. Yeah, it's all about the deals and the money. Yeah,
exactly. They
that's why you see the other way. You can look at the credits in a film, and when you see the same actors across multiple films, it's because it's a package deal. The agency, from the writer to the actors to the directors, the agency makes the most amount of money by packaging a film with everybody that they've got in-house. So, yeah, it would be really odd to see a Black Adam movie with anybody other than Henry Cavill playing Superman.
Yeah. Zen Tech brings with a question here in the comments, says, anyone think Black Adam will make a cameo in Shazam 2?
Which one comes out first?
Post-credit scene.
Yep. He won't be in the film.
Well, no. But which one comes out first? Does Black Adam come out before
I'm pretty sure Shazam does.
So here's something to keep in mind.
I think Black Adam comes out first.
Well, whatever one comes out first. If Black Adam comes out first, I don't know. But most likely there will be a post-credit scene with Black Adam in it. I would not be surprised.
And here's an issue I think is going to come up. I don't sense Black Adam tonally is going to be anything like Shazam.
No.
So if you have Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam show up in a Shazam movie, that's going to be a really weird cocktail of two completely different tones, and it'll be interesting to see how they pull it off. If they pull it off, I hope they do. But this speaks to what I was talking about earlier with like a tonal consistency between movies. Black Adam, as I'm sensing, is going to be a very dark, serious, threatening character, and you know, the first Shazam was like a kids movie. It was so light, and it didn't even feel like it fit what we'd seen preceded with Wonder Woman and all the other stuff.
Yeah, I feel like by the time we get Black Adam in the Shazam universe, you know, because he's already technically there, because they, you know, in Shazam they showed the outline of the Rock, and it's obviously the Rock as Black Adam, right? But I think by the time we get there, man, that'll be that growing up moment for Shazam. That's why they're not doing Shazam versus Black Adam as the sequel to Shazam. I feel because we got Shazam, which is that initial story. I feel like Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, is going to be that movie that kind of helps the kids grow up a little bit, helps everybody kind of be a little bit more mature, setting the stage then for a Shazam 3, where you bring the Rock in, because now we'll be introduced the Rock with the Black Adam, you know, because we'll have the Black Adam film. Then you bring those two together, and by the time you bring the two together, they'll be a little bit more on par than from that first Shazam movie. You know, that's my hope.
Yeah,
I hope that they don't try to, you know, keep that silly.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, again, right? We just don't know. We just don't know. But my feeling is that they will try to grow up Shazam a little bit. I mean, and you can tell, like, even from the look of this film, the Shazam 2 movie, it looks like it's growing up a little bit. You know, it looks like it's becoming a little bit more mature. So
I hope so, because I want to see a little bit more of a serious take on Shazam. I didn't hate the original, but I'm like, this is just too much. It just felt like too much of a kids movie. It didn't feel like an all. It's like a lot of DC movies, they can appeal to the adults and the kids, and Shazam just felt like it was only appealing to kids, which is what took me out of it.
I don't know, man. I love Shazam. I love Shazam. There are some heartbreaking moments for me in Shazam. As somebody who was raised by his grandmother, because my mom had all kinds of issues, and like, without going into all of that right now, I mean, I was raised by my grandma for a reason, and my mom made a lot of choices that did not have me as its best interest. And that moment that he knocks on his mom's door, and his mom is like, nope.
I can understand that, Enosh.
Yeah, I get it.
Something you can relate to. That was the serious. Right, that was the serious
moment leveled me. That moment was so real to me in that moment, because of the choices my mother had made over and over and over again in her life, until, you know, and the thing was later in my mother's life, she wanted to, you know, she wished that she could undo that, but the damage was already done. And I didn't want, you know, I spent a lot, and this is just being open to everybody. I spent, you know, the first 13 years of my life hoping and praying and wanting my mother to get her life together so that I could go live with her, so that I could have this life with her, I could be with her. By the time I hit 13 years old, I told my grandmother, you're going to literally have to force me out of here kicking and screaming if you think I'm going to go live with my mom. I loved my mom, but it was not, I did not have a mother-son relationship with my mom. It was like she was a relative who was there, right? And, you know, who I cared about, but there was no way I wanted to live with that person as somebody being my parental figure. And when you know, Billy sees his mom, and I understand that feeling of wanting so bad to be accepted by somebody, and over and over and over again, giving the benefit of the doubt, trying to do everything you can. And then to have that moment where you just realize they're always going to choose somebody else over you. They're always going to, whether it's somebody else, you know, whether it's drugs, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, that person's going to choose that thing over me.
You know, and you reconcile with your mom? Did you ever reconcile with her?
So I mean, yeah, I mean, my mom was actually always around. My mom was always around. My grandma took care of all of her affairs, and my mom came in and out. And my mom lived with us at periods of time, and she left. Now my mom was very violent at times. My mom was diagnosed paranoid, schizophrenic, manic depressive. She was addicted to many hardcore drugs over her lifetime, and she had a lot of issues. I loved my mother, but it came to the point where I could never actually just sit down and have a conversation with my mother, because my mother was so far gone that there were times when she was on her medication where she would be okay, but she would never want to do that. And so it made it really hard over time to even be around her because she had the more of the mind of a child herself, you know? So like I could never, when my son Landon was born, for example, like I could never feel comfortable with him being around her because I knew that she had been violent. She had been violent with me, with my grandmother and other people so many times. I wasn't going to subject my son to that, you know? Now as he got a little older, brought him around, but we didn't have that. Now my dad, for example, my mother and dad were divorced when I was a year and a half. My dad just kind of went off. Like I just didn't have any connection with my dad. But when I was in my mid 20s, I have two sisters and a brother who live in the Seattle area, along with my dad. And I had tried to get a hold of my dad, and I had never heard from him or anything. And he just didn't think that I would want that because him and my grandmother didn't get along. And so my sister found me. She wrote me a letter. I called her. We started talking. I started talking to my dad, and over the course of about 5 years, from 2001 to 2006, we just kept talking out more and more and more. And finally, I had a brain tumor scare back in 2005. And I told my dad, I said, you know what? I said, I need to know if there's something here. We've been talking, we email each other, we talk on the phone every once in a while. I need to know if you're family or if you're someone who is just a relative, whatever. And, and he was very realistic with me. He said, Enosh, he says, these things don't always end, on a positive note, and I said, but you know what? I owe it to myself with what I've gone through. I don't want to live my life not knowing. And so, you know what? I flew out to Seattle. I rekindled with my dad, and I didn't know that I needed my relationship with my dad until I had it. And once I had that relationship with my dad, it meant the world, and it totally changed everything. And my dad and I have reconciled, and my dad, held my hand, and apologized to me for having not, been there for me and for having stayed away because of his own fear. And, and if we learn anything from this, folks, if this is kind of getting serious. I know we're talking about The Rock and Shazam and everything else, but you know what?
It's more interesting though, Enosh.
Don't let your fears keep you from seeing what's out there. Now look, every story doesn't end like that. Every story doesn't end on a happy note. My the oldest of my two sisters, I'm the oldest of several. I was raised with two sisters, and then I have a brother and two sisters on my dad's side. But me and the two sisters that I was raised with, we all have a different dad. And my the oldest of my two sisters sought out her dad after I had the reconciliation with my dad. And you know what? That didn't work so well. He did not respond the way that she wanted him to, nor the way that I would have wished, for that to go. And my heart went out to her, and I felt for her because, it's my sister, and she tried, but it's like I explained to her, I'm like, not everything always ends that way, but you owe it to yourself to try.
Did she get the closure though that she needed, even with that result, to be able to move on?
I feel that she did. I feel
Sometimes
that she did because at least now she knows. you know, and that's what I told my dad about that whole situation. I said, you know what, look, if I come out there and it doesn't work out and it's obviously not going to be a thing and we're not going to see eye to eye and we're not going to, you know, get along or whatever, you know, whatever the issue is. I said, at least I'll know, and I'll be in Seattle. I'll hang out with my family for, you know, for a week in Seattle, and, you know, we'll go get a hotel and we'll be fine. But at least I'll know. But I told him, I said, but what if I come out there and there's something there, and there's you know, a relationship to be had, and there was, and I'm so thankful every day that I have that relationship now. I played catch with my dad for the first time when I was 35 years old.
These are the real life stories of inspiration outside what we talk about in Poindexter Lounge with all the fictional heroes. This is really something you were able to share.
Yeah. In fact, I'm trying to find it right now. I've got the video here somewhere of me and my dad playing catch. I don't know. I'll have to play it for you guys sometime. But yeah, me and my dad played catch for the first time when I was 35.
Bringing it full circle.
Yes,
what
sir.
happened in Shazam really resonated with you, and I can understand that with what happened between Billy and his mom. And I had actually forgotten that serious stuff in the movie. I was a little bit, but I mean, I give you that.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it is something that, you know, there are things in these movies that it's like, even when we see like that there's a bunch of like fluff on the top, it may appear. It's interesting when you see like, because there's some other things in Shazam too that like I haven't really thought about sometimes, but like look at the monsters in Shazam. Like,
yeah, pretty graphic.
7 Deadly Sins. Yeah.
Yeah, the monsters in Shazam are pretty graphic for the tone of that film, actually.
I got to give Shazam a second viewing because I only saw it once, and I'm honestly not remembering a lot of these things because
it's really good.
The first time I saw it, I wasn't that moved by it, but maybe it'll grow on me watching it again.
Yeah, man, give it a. You know, like I said, always to me, I always try to give movies a couple of chances and see, you know, what's there, you know, because a lot of times, like I said, you'll find something that you didn't catch before,
or it might have been the mood I was in that night when I saw it in the theater by myself. It's
one.
Entirely possible.
That's a big one. That's a big one that I think we overlook a lot of times, man. Is you know, like we're in a mood or something happened to us that day or whatever, and we go see a film and it's like, I hate this movie, and it's really not the movie. It's like, you know, it's our state of mind.
It's not the movie's fault we had a bad day.
Yeah,
exactly. So you had a bad day. The movie didn't suck. You know?
Well, I'll watch it again, and if we talk about Shazam again in the future, I'll report on my new feelings if there are any. I'll give it a second chance.
Heck yeah, man. Give it a second chance. Let us know for sure. And thank you to everybody in the chat. You know, look, that's one of the things you're going to get here that maybe you don't get at other channels. Is I'm pretty thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that.
The lounge gets real.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? This is who I am, and yep. I've got a sister. I've got 4 sisters actually. Got 4 sisters altogether. So, but yeah, I'm glad that you guys appreciate that. Like I said, not to try to get too sentimental on y'all, but you know, that's why we're passionate about the things we're passionate about, right? Is because of our experiences. And I think that goes to say. Now, one thing that I am passionate about though is cleanliness.
Can I tell you something really quickly, Inosh? When I saw you were going on tonight, I've been at home working all day long. I hadn't taken a shower. When I saw it in Twitter, I'm like, I ran to the bath, even though you're not near me to smell me. It's like, I cannot go on the air not looking right. So I took a shower before I logged in because it's important.
It is.
Cleaning up.
Folks.
This is next to godliness.
Folks, for God's sake. Like, what the heck? We know that Hollywood is a little crazy, right?
Wow.
Wow.
Oh. This is
Man,
stinking up the stream.
He's going full Howard Hughes on us, guys.
Dude. I mean, like Mysterio, there ain't no mystery about that. You know, he walked in the room because you smelled him. Like, I find it to be less necessary to bathe regularly. Look, I'm not even saying that you have to take a shower every day. Like, if you take a shower and then like the next day you don't really do anything, you didn't whatever, you're saving water, whatever. That's fine. But dude, you should not be going like long periods of time without showering, cleaning yourself up. If you have access to it, for the love of God, please.
Does he brush his teeth? I hope he does.
I can't leave the house without taking a shower because it's not even just about my own vanity. It's about respect for other people. You don't want to be around people, stink up the space you're in with other people. People you don't know. Just respect and hygiene.
If I'm going to the corner store, I don't care, dude. Flip flops, shorts.
Look, man,
I don't
I can't do it. You want to talk? You want to talk getting real? Let's get real, right? So you're with your wife, like you said, Dial. Like you're with your special person, right? And it comes that moment. The moment's right.
Wow.
Right. The moment's there, and you're like, okay, you know what? This is gonna happen, and then all of a sudden, you show up reeking of whatever.
Forget about it.
No, because it automatically goes from a special moment to this.
It's a natural musk.
Does your butthole itch? Does it just ache? Do you walk around all day wishing you had a different butthole?
Just wash it.
Have you guys ever lived around hippies? I'm telling you, okay?
Oh, boy.
Where I used to live, it was nothing but patchouli oil and armpits, okay? That's
my
all
grandpa.
you can smell.
He's straight up
They
hippie.
do them then.
You
That's
pull
their
into
thing.
town.
I
That's
don't gotta
it.
be near it. That's their thing.
I agree, Mary.
Okay, so we actually have to read this story because because it's not just Jake Gyllenhaal. That's the thing. It's like it's not just like one dude, just like, hey, I'm not doing this. This seems to be a trend.
This is what they mean by eccentric actors.
Yes, it says the Nightcrawler actor was promoting a fragrance when he made the remarks. Because Jake Gyllenhaal isn't too keen on keeping clean by bathing himself on a consistent basis. The actor said as much during an interview with Vanity Fair on Thursday while he was promoting a new fragrance that he is of the belief that showering every day is moot. This is not the 1800s, folks. Like, what the heck? You don't have to, like, it's not COD bath, cologne over dirt. It doesn't work that way. Like, no, okay, I get it. When you're a teenager, your room smells like feet. I get it. But, like, I got 3 boys, right? But it's like, yeah, but you're still the adult that goes in there and goes, hey, pick up your dirty laundry that smells horrible, clean yourself, go take a shower. Look, the hormones are going. I get that. But you're a grown man. This ain't the 1800s.
This is responsibility.
Yourself. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So here he says, I'm always baffled. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
Okay. So I personally lived in areas where showers weren't easily accessible.
Sure.
I'm talking like if you want to take a bath, boil a pot of water on the stove and, sponge yourself down kind of situation. And that was like for 5 years of my life. And that wasn't too long ago. So I could kind of see it. I mean, there is a sense of maintaining, but yeah, I'm a big dude, and yeah, I do stink. So at least once a day, which is nice because I'm in civilization. But I'm saying, like, there's been stretches of my life, like long stretches, where having access to a shower, it was just not in the cards. Like, hell, I lived in a camper for 6 months. Like, we had to go to the campgrounds in town to, shower up.
I'm saying if you have access.
Yes.
If
like
you
Jake
have
Gyllenhaal,
access, look,
who has
yes.
millions of dollars.
He's probably got like some infinity shower with on-demand water heater. And
I love this comment by Nicole. I need my pain. James T. Kirk. That's awesome. That is
right.
Like freaking
All right,
awesome.
I'm gonna dip out real quick.
When you're a celebrity and you can have your bathroom and your facilities to clean yourself, it's not a privilege. It's like I don't know. To some people, bathing is a luxury. I just did a show when was it? Friday night with an activist here in Chicago who has a GoFundMe, and she's trying to raise money for portable showers for homeless people that she does outreach for here in Chicago. And these people don't have anywhere to go and you don't realize how lucky you have it when you've got the benefit of your facilities, your shower, your bathroom, to be able to take advantage of that luxury, because there are people that don't have it, that wish they had it. They wish they had it.
No,
I've surfed for years. Like, I'm telling you, man, like sometimes a shower is a luxury. It's really weird. Like,
find a sink. 187 is
I
like,
feel
hey,
for you,
find
man.
a sink.
I don't know what your circumstances were, but my heart goes out to you. It sounds like it was maybe a rough situation.
It was just I didn't work hard enough to better my situation, so it was more along the lines of just me being lazy.
But here, like Jake Gyllenhaal, well, not just Jake Gyllenhaal. Wait till we get into this, because this is like what? So he says, I am baffled that loofahs come from nature. They feel like they've been made in a factory, but in fact, it's just not true. Like, what the heck is this? Like, seriously, loofahs? Like, what is this? Insane Clown Posse? Magnets? How do they work?
You have to imagine this though in his voice.
Oh my gosh! Do you guys remember that Insane Clown Posse song "Miracles"? Have you guys ever heard that?
I don't listen to Insane Clown.
Okay, neither do I. But when I did my radio show back in the day, we used to play that drop all the time, because literally, listen to the song "Miracles" by Insane Clown Posse. It is absolutely freaking hilarious. It is a lesson in people not understanding how things around them just are. Like, literally, they're talking about stuff like gravity, that gravity is a miracle. Everything is a miracle. And then, like, one point, they literally go, like, effing magnets. How do those things work? It's a miracle. It's like, okay, Insane Clown Posse.
Jurassic Park is real and the Earth is flat. Okay.
Sure. But yeah, so apparently Jake Gyllenhaal is amazed by loofahs because they look like they've been made in a factory, but in fact, it's just not true. Since I was young, it's amazed me, Gyllenhaal explained when asked of his bathing ritual. More and more, I find bathing to be less necessary at times, he continued. I do believe, because Elvis Costello is wonderful, that good manners and bad breath get you nowhere. So I do that. But I do also think that there's a whole world of not bathing that is also really helpful for skin maintenance, and we naturally clean ourselves. Tell that to your nether regions.
There's something to be said about that, though. Your body does have natural
but body
oils
oil. But body oil also causes acne and pimples. If you're not cleaning yourself, that natural oil can be a source of all kinds of skin issues too.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, when your woman is like, "Hey, you know what? I didn't order the vinaigrette."
And you can vinaigrette out of here.
Exactly. You're gonna have some regret on that.
I'm just saying.
Look at that look on his face. Now that look on his face. Like, I'm sorry, but have you seen Brokeback Mountain? I'm like, man. Geez, no.
There was a lot of musk going on in that situation.
I guess so. It says the topic of personal hygiene and how often parents should bathe their children has also been a pressing issue in recent days after Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis admitted that they wait until dirt is visible on their kids. Wyatt 6 and Dimitri 4 before summoning them to a bath or shower. Think about that. They wait until dirt is visibly on their kids.
Okay.
Most of the dirt is not going to be visible.
What dirt are you talking about? They're rolling in the front lawn? Like what?
So there's some long stretches there between their showers and baths.
Long.
Man, I grew up in the sticks, man. Like
kids,
hippies and rednecks, dude. Like that. You were talking about two groups right there. That bathing is optional. Like,
I don't know about that. I mean, when you say,
have you ever been to Whole Foods?
Yes. Wait, what about it?
Smell around. I mean, like, no, dude. I grew up. There's this like really big, like well-known like commune place out by where I grew up, and yeah, you go to a certain part of the town. I'm not going to name it or anything, but like, yeah, I would just say don't go to Mendocino, expecting people to smell bathed.
Good to know.
Good to know. So yeah.
Important safety tip. Thank you, Egon.
Yes.
Yeah,
so,
you're welcome.
So Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, shut up, Meg. Don't bathe their children until dirt is visible on their kids. Then Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard also revealed on Tuesday that they essentially await the stench before cleaning their daughters Lincoln 8 and Delta 6.
Well, I would hope the 8-year-old cleaned herself at that age, but you know, all right.
Well, thank you, Kristen Bell says here. Once you catch a whiff, that's biology's way of letting you know you need to clean it up. Bell 41 quipped on The View.
Either that, or she's just too goddamn lazy to.
That's what I'm
take care
saying.
of her kids properly.
I mean, actors are known to be a little hippy dippy.
If you can't take care of your kids, don't have them.
Yep, you're right, man.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility.
Listen, I get it. I had 3 boys. The kids don't always smell great. They don't, like, the smells and the things that come out of kids aren't always the most pleasant. Look, I get it, man. You get a bunch of guys sitting around a room there, and you know, like they've had some Taco Bell. You're gonna have an interesting night. I'm just saying, you should not be ignoring your kids' hygiene. You should not be ignoring your hygiene. You should not be waiting until your kids visibly show dirt on their body, or you know, or apparently just reek. Yeah,
heck, I get the day off. I go 2-3 days without a shower, man. I don't care.
This public service announcement brought to you by Enosh and the Poindexter Lounge.
Look, and this could be a first world problem.
I mean, I feel like you should make a commercial about it. Like, what's the name of the fragrance? Mysterio. I don't take baths. Mysterio.
It's so funny. When I worked at Kinko's, there was a girl there who we would always joke. We came up with the scent Garbaggio.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, in the morning, when I smell it, it reminds me of her. And rotten banana peels. Garbaggio. For her.
Barmani.
It's the smell of eggshells and coffee grounds. Garbaggio. For him.
The flies are free.
Yeah, you know what? Look, I just say, look, if you can, you should. I understand that there are circumstances where you may not be able to. I understand that. People live in different parts of the world where they don't have access. There is no reason why millionaires, what's his name? Jake Gyllenhaal,
Chili Bean,
Jake Gyllenhaal, Ashton Kutcher, all these people. Like, if you have the money to be on Shark Tank and people are asking you for cash, your children's hygiene should not be in question. Just saying. I don't know. It's probably not really a big story in the bigger scheme of things. It just hit me weird, like the smell apparently of Jake Gyllenhaal on the set.
Story. Enosh, the story stinks.
It does. It is. It's quite smelly. It's quite smelly. So I don't know. I just thinking of that, like reading that about Jake, like it just, I'm imagining him in that Mysterio costume for hours
on a set under hot lights.
Oh man. Sorry, Tom. Sorry, Holland.
Right.
My bad, bro. Never wanted to be that guy until I showed up to the set of Spider-Man Far From Home.
Well, at least he brushes his teeth, I guess.
And if you've done cosplay, you know those costumes get damp really quickly.
Heck yeah, dude! I was just wearing this Ultimate Warrior mask last night on somebody's stream, and I was like, "Dang, I gotta get this thing off. My face is like melting underneath just this piece of plastic." For God's sake,
15 minutes of the big Haas mask. I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, yeah. That's why Doomcock makes 15-minute videos. Think about it.
Well, he's got that big.
That mask has got to stink when he takes it off.
And that bellhop uniform. I mean, come on.
Gosh.
The bellhop. I call it the monkey organ grinder.
Yes.
That he's got on.
First floor BS. Second floor leaks and other things. So look out on the first floor because there's wet BS.
Stay angry, my friends.
Stay angry.
Stay smelly, my friends.
Apparently, jeez, man, I don't know, but I feel like you got to really get in there and clean it all up.
Not like that.
Like I said, I grew up in hippie ass Northern California. People lived in yurts, dude. Yurts, like made out of hay. Like I was like, what the hell? They're like, yeah, man, we made this out of mud and tree sticks. I'm like, huh?
So David B in the live chat is right on. He says, I bet Doomcock doesn't bathe much. I bet you're right.
I feel sorry for Harvey Cthulhu. He probably has to smell it all the time.
Well, here's Jake Gyllenhaal when asked, if everything's all right.
There's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. No, nothing wrong. Here's one comment you don't want to hear if you haven't, babe.
Get my hands on you, I'm gonna eat your ass like a pot of collard greens, baby.
Oh no, go. Okay. I used to work in I used to change oil in cars and stuff. And like I said, this was a little town that had hippies that didn't live too far away. And every year around the fall time, people would get their cars worked on because they had money. And what they would do is they'd bring these busted hippie mobiles, and they were usually like these old Subarus that were held together with like glue and determination. Like I have no idea how they made it in there, but they did. But you get in them, and it's like, there's usually like a little picture of some, of like Gandhi or some spiritual thing, because there's a lot of there's like it's like Buddhism and stuff like that. It's actually partly religious too, as to why the bathing thing. But like, a lot of it is like people have allergies to deodorants and stuff like that. So it's like, whoa. But
look,
yeah,
I get it. There is stuff like legitimate reasons, like people have issue with different things, whatever. But you know what? I feel like there's always like an alternative.
True.
And you know what? And even if you're not somebody who wants to like, use a lot of deodorants or things like that, or like, chemicals or whatever, that's fine. But basic hygiene though. Right. I mean, like, that unfortunately, I'll tell you what, this actually, and this is not to be like some political statement. Unfortunately, though, we're not teaching kids those things in schools anymore. We're not teaching them the basics of how to like actually take care of themselves. And unfortunately, parents aren't teaching them either. So, just I would just say try. Let's. For everybody, like you said, for those around you. And
even Tony Stark kept a bottle of Axe around the office for those days. And I think he said that in Endgame with Ant-Man when he was sniffing it when he went underneath his arc reactor.
Yep. So there you go. That's that. I think this. I can't remember what this drop is, but I think it might have some. It was the wrong. I was thinking because right after that, there's another part to that clip where he's talking about the John Cena cologne, and he's like, "What does this smell like? Does this smell like John Cena? Like what is that? And so.
Oh yeah, and
I was waiting for him to say it was the John Cena butt plug.
Oh Lord,
it's the same shape.
Pretty much. Well, But hey, that's all I got for tonight. That's all the stories that I've missed over the last couple of days. And so you know what? I know I haven't been around that much in the last couple of weeks, guys, but I appreciate all of you who have been very vocal on Twitter and other social media and stuff, sending me messages and making sure I was okay. I am okay. I assure you, I am okay. I am good. You know what? Just sometimes you just gotta step back for a minute and realize what's important. And for me, you know, look, I'm going to be 45 next month, and which always makes me laugh when I see people who come forward and they're like, oh, you know, this person's chasing clout, that person's chasing clout, this person's doing this, whatever. Look, I don't know what the expiration date is on a 45-year-old white man who's surrounded by toys on YouTube talking about pop culture stuff. But trust me, clout is the very last thing that I'm worried about. I put out while I was on my little sabbatical, I put out in one day the 10 things that are more important to me than any clout could ever be on the internet. And you know what? It's stuff like my family, my wife, my kids, my dog, being there for my son's, you know, buying his first car, being there, you know, playing, getting to play music with my son, who's a drummer now, and, you know, and being able to jam with him, you know, hanging out with my wife and going to movies and shopping for toys and just living life, guys. And you know what? And I always put at the end of each one, YouTube is not real life. This is what we do for fun, right? If you think I'm trying to make a living at this, you don't know, first of all, how the algorithm works. Yeah. And then if you think that I would waste money on anything stupid, so much as ever buying whatchamacallit, buying subscribers or doing anything like that, I got plenty of stuff to spend my money on that I would never do that. I don't need a subscriber number to make me happy. I have plenty of toys. And trust me, I don't know what the going rate is for buying subs because I've never looked into that, but I know that I would rather spend that money probably on a Skeletor figure than I would ever want to spend it on fake subs. I would rather that the people who subscribe to the channel are actually here and actually like what we do. And you know what? Here's the thing. And I say this because I had somebody like apparently make this comment to someone else this week about me and my friend Dawson, actually, about like why we do. Can I tell you something? When you have a diverse things that you talk about, I will tell you this, kids, if you're going to start a YouTube channel, talk about one thing. If you want to hit the algorithm, if you want to do those things, have one interest, talk about that one thing all the time, because the algorithm will reward you for that. And you will be known for just that one thing. Me, I like a lot of stuff. So that's why you get videos about, you know, Jake Gyllenhaal talking about how he doesn't take a bath. And then you get Enosh doing a toy review of a Skeletor figure, or, you know, the figures from Suicide Squad or whatever. And you know what? Not everybody who's subscribed here likes the same stuff. We got some Marvel fans that don't care about when I do a toy review of the Suicide Squad figures, and you got some people who don't necessarily care when I'm talking about Jake Gyllenhaal. That's why the views go down from 70 people here to 35. So you know what? It's okay, because this is a channel for everybody. And of course, then there's this guy who literally, I'm trying to wrap things up, and this guy pops in at the last second.
Hey, William.
You got to scream at the wrong time. Can't help it.
No, you're good, man. You're good. How
There's
you doing,
no way
William?
you're wrapping up at 2:35. There's no way that
I am.
You're not feeling well. I mean, everything all right?
Well, my voice is pretty shot. So yeah.
Yeah, I actually got to get up and go in the morning. I got some.
So I was bringing it up,
Nice.
but you know what, William, I'll give you a couple of minutes. Tell us what you thought of Suicide Squad.
I thought it was fun. I mean, like I said, I went into it with James Gunn expectations. He exceeded those. Like I said, I could see where people wouldn't like it, but at the same time, I didn't have any of those issues. As far as why it pulled in 30, 32, 33, that's right where I expected it to be, given all the circumstances, both pandemic-wise and content-wise, and the way DC's handled things so far. Then I would hold on for a second. Let me pull something off.
I prefer a sub above.
There you go. Turn the air conditioner down. Given all the issues that, like I said, that I spoke about leading up to it, 32 million was that's right where it should have made. To be honest with you, I don't see that as a disappointment. But if it is perceived as a disappointment, it didn't start over the weekend. You have 7 years of really, really bad decision making that led up to whatever disappointments this movie could have had, as far as like what it was supposed to draw or what people thought it was going to draw. I don't think as many people are into James Gunn as the DC hierarchy thought. People always say that Zack Snyder is divisive, but I can't name a more divisive director than James Gunn, as far as you either love him or hate him. So to give him full control, a lot of people that we took over 150 people with us to the screening on Tuesdays. A lot of people were turned on about the excess of the gore and everything else. Some of it, I'm just quoting them, it got to the point where the violence was cartoonish and without point. That's not my opinion, because like I said, I just had fun with it. But I had at least a quarter of the people who went with us, say things like that. And it's just he's an acquired taste. So he's not a general audience director, in my opinion. And I think that affected a little bit of it. But a lot of it is the fact that I was saying this over and over again. Why should anybody care about this movie leading up to it? There's no movie connected to it, really. It kind of is, but there's no broader general universe connected to it. And the shared universe is the way to go. And that's not a Marvel thing. That's a comic book thing.
That's just an everything thing right now. Yeah. It's like everybody wants to see that long form storytelling. It's like, thank you, all those HBO and Showtime shows that had seasons long story arcs that, told fabulous stories and made us wanting more. So it's like, no, it's only natural. Yeah. It's like the people who get upset about standalone Star Trek. It's like, Star Trek used to just be standalone episodes that were just, ancillary things that just took care of themselves. But it's like now that Discovery has an entire season arc, they're just like, oh, it's stupid.
Yeah. And another problem is like I said, they are they're looking at Joker and Aquaman as the $1 billion movies. And, well, Joker didn't have as much to do with Justice League and it made $1 billion, and Joker was Aquaman, and then Joker was its own thing. It really wasn't. No matter what story you put Joker in, I don't care who's in it. If Batman never steps foot on the screen, it's a Batman character. He's arguably the most known Batman character besides Batman himself. So it had that going for it. And then if it weren't for BBS and Justice League itself, and Jason Momoa being casted, I mean, that movie wasn't without its connections either. So I when they said they were going to try to go with standalone things, this is what you get from standalone, because it really undercuts not just James Gunn's movie, it's undercutting everything. I have no reason to care about this movie or these movies from one movie to the next. And there's just no, I'm not invested in it as a fan. And they need to abandon that plan. But a lot of the other things that I think they have, the characters in it, once again, that's another comment I got from the people. Nobody cared about these characters, living or dying, outside of Harley Quinn. Nobody cared about these characters living or dying. And if that's the case for the people that are in the cinema, imagine how compelling your argument is to get out of your house and drive down to a cinema to see the Weasel. And if there's any, you hear people coming up with, they should develop these underused characters. BS. If you need that case proven to you over and over again, this movie, if it's indeed a failure, which I don't think it is, but if it's considered one as far as what its number gets, this tells you why. Because unless you're going to bring them in through known characters, you're going to get results like this. You know, you're going to get the hardcore geeks. Like, I want to see Blue Beetle. I want to see Booster Gold. Okay, you and about 9 other people want to see that. The general audience is not going to be drawn to the cinema, and they're not going to be drawn as repeat viewers. I mean, literally, this movie is about disposable characters. Literally, it's literally about disposable characters, many of whom die before their names are mentioned in the damn credits. So I don't know if this is the way to go. I mean, I heard people say give the keys to James Gunn and let him run the DCU. Well, if you want to run into a wall,
no.
Yeah, if you want to run into a wall, but like I said, this took 7 years to get to the point where these questions are finally coming up to the point. You just had a movie that wasn't attached to anything anybody really cared about. They hurt their own predecessor to this movie. Obviously, everybody knows what went on with David Ayer's movie, but then they let Margot Robbie, who's not a producer, experienced producer, make the decision between Birds of Prey or Gotham City Sirens. So she ends up making the wrong decision, and that leads up to this movie. And every poor decision that they've made has led to another poor decision being made. And that's what right now you have brand loyalty damage. You have brand loyalty damage to the point where you're just not compelled to go out and see it once or twice or 3 times like you would be at the beginning of the 7-year period. And that's something they got to fix. And the only way I see them fixing that is they got to get rid of just about everybody. They have to get rid of just about everybody that led up to this point. I mean, because like I said, this is not working.
Preach it, brother.
Yeah, you can say the pandemic hurt him. The pandemic, because like I said, I was in a theater with just way too many people, and I was really not comfortable the entire time. And if I didn't have the responsibilities that I had that night, I would be watching it on HBO Max. But like I said, I don't think that was its only issue. I think the fact that they've done so much brand damage that just no reason to care about it. And this is not going to be the last time we have this conversation. You might end up having this conversation with The Flash and Batman, because there's no lead up. There's no lead up to any of these movies. There's no on ramp to any of these movies other than you're making them, and that's not good enough anymore. And people say, "Oh, just make good movies." That's BS too. You know what? You need to do more than just make a good movie. There are so many directors and producers and execs that have gotten fired because they made a great movie, but it bombed. Okay, there's a lot of guys out there that aren't making movies anymore that made some really good movies, but if you don't package them right, if you don't attach them right, you end up with questions that we're having now. I know we're going to probably have with The Flash, and that you're probably going to have with Batman, and any other movie that they do aside from Black Adam. So it's not a Suicide Squad's question. It's bad management question.
This speaks to a lot of what I had brought up earlier on the show when we were talking about our thoughts on the Suicide Squad, and my feeling that I'm so used to continuity, like in the MCU, and having a table set with the kind of bridging that you're talking about, that this is why Suicide Squad, I didn't feel like strongly about it or anything. It's like, yeah, it was kind of entertaining, but it wasn't a home run. I think it's like completely overrated for a lot of reasons that you just gave a very good explanation for.
Yeah, and it's going to be the same. It was the same with Birds of Prey. It's going to be the same. It's just sort of the same with Shazam. Shazam, that's a good movie, but Shazam made $400 and something million. Okay, so and a lot of it is the fact that they, like I said, I don't enjoy like about half of the Marvel product, but the framework is there, and it's a framework DC Comics created. The first comic book crossover ever happened was in DC Comics. So, first superhero team, first everything. They revolutionized this game. It's their game, and they need to start using it. And this is not going to get fixed until you fix the established characters. People say, "Oh, how come it has to be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman all the time?" Because that's what works, okay? And you're seeing, in general, for the most part, what doesn't work. So you got to fix that first. And right now, we don't know what's going on with Superman. That hurts the franchise. That's brand name damage. We don't know what's going on with Wonder Woman for the most part. And the last movie wasn't that good. That hurts the brand name. Okay, Batman. We don't know what's going on with Batman. And these are all things that were not completed. So whenever you do something, like I've always said, why should I trust you with the next thing when you never finish the current thing?
Yes.
And that hurts the brand name loyalty.
Can I ask everyone this then? That being said, do you feel like it's a better idea for them to try and fix the broken continuity of all the films already released, or do you think they should hard reboot and start again?
No,
if they hard reboot, like I said, they may as well be looking for new jobs.
Yep.
Because nobody is going to buy a hard reboot. Nobody.
It'll be the beginning of the end.
Yeah, and fans will give up at that point.
Well,
if you do another hard reboot, you're basically below the CW as far as priority of anybody ever caring about DC.
So they've laid such good groundwork already. Why would you abandon that? It's there if you've got the right people to let the creatives, like a Zack Snyder or whoever else, build on what's already been established properly.
What they need to do.
I mean, I do agree with you, but it's like the timeline and the continuity of all these films are so scatterbrained. Like, what are we going to establish from that point? What is canon and what is not? Like, which actors are staying and which ones are not? You know, so it's just so confusing at this point. How do you?
That's what the Flash could be doing. That's what the Flash could do, but we don't know if it's going to do it.
Right.
What they need to do to maximize all their platforms is they need to fracture these universes. They don't need. They need to take, like I've always said, especially with HBO being the focal point of the company. Like I said, box office ain't going to mean jack in a few years. It's going to be a secondary source of income. Streaming is where you're going. Where these guys are going to make their bonuses and where they're going to get hired and fired. It's not going to be the box office. So, but what they need to do is they need to establish HBO as Max as a platform for certain content. They need to establish the CW as another platform and clear definitions, and then they have their cinematic platforms. They don't need to reboot. They need to establish and explain. And once you do that, and that's your plan, so I'm going to have the HBO Max first, I'm going to have the CW, and I'm going to have my cinematic universe. I'm going to put all my hardcore content, that beheadings and stuff, and the R-rated stuff, I'm going to funnel it through HBO Max because I can do anything I want there without risk. I'm going to maybe the more tame and the more PG-13 stuff, I'm going to put that on the cinema because that doesn't limit my audience. An R rating cuts my audience in half. So I'm putting all my PG-13 stuff on the big screen, and then everything else, young adult stuff, is going on CW. And you establish that. When you have your convention or what's the one in October, Fandom should be about establishing that. And each person who's going to run that section, so if it's DL, you're running HBO Max, you get your whole section and you explain to me what exactly kind of content we're going to do. You're going to compare it to like Game of Thrones and stuff like that. And Enosh is running the cinematic universe, the one that's on the big screen, and he rolls out his plan, what we're going to do. But each time we introduce these guys, the look is different, the logos are different, everything is different, and then you go forward, and then you let your fan base pick from then. And what's going to happen 9 times out of 10, no matter how many things you have on the plate, if you explain everything to somebody, they're going to follow them all, even if they don't like. They're not going to say they like the CW. But guess what? If you put together a cohesive plan, people will follow you. The problem with DC right now is there's no cohesive plan. There's nothing to follow. You know, it's bad leadership. There's nothing being led, and that's the problem. But I would rather see Snyder content exclusively on HBO Max.
I have something to say it's gonna rock worlds. I think the comic book genre is dying.
In regards to what?
First person to say
just in general. And the reason why I say that is because after certain climaxes, where do you go from there? Like, I mean, growing up, and we have a good age range in this panel. When you were a kid, what kind of movie was popular? Was it a Western?
Star Wars?
Or like, you know, science fiction or something like that. So it's like they come and they go, you know what I mean? So it's like in the 30s and 40s, it was like film noir, you know what I mean? So it was like that. And then you had like your crime movies in the 60s and 70s and stuff, you know, to where genres come and go. So I mean, it's like I think that the comic book genre itself, maybe in the eyes of the general audience, might be done.
I don't.
Well, I mean, not necessarily done, but on its way out.
I don't even think that. And here's why. Because if you look what you just said, as far as like let's take back in the 80s. You had science fiction. You had every science fiction type of movie you can have. All right. We still have science fiction horror. We still have action. We still have those basic. The one thing that wasn't there that has a lot more longevity to it was the comic book movies. They're actually the newest genre that has the least amount of mileage on it and has the most diversity on it. So the main thing now, if it's mismanaged, then yes, you are 100% right. If it's mismanaged, then yeah, that's with anything though. But right now, it seems that way because you have one company not taking advantage of any type of momentum that is created. And when you create momentum, just like I said, the entire 80s was okay science fiction, but they kept making them because they had momentum. You can keep a genre going for 30, 40 years if you manage it right.
But I think with Avengers Endgame and the amount of money that it made, that was the peak. Like, I don't think you're going to see that, especially after the pandemic. For a long time, you're not going to see those box office returns, period.
You don't need to, though. See,
No, it's true, because it's all going to shift over to streaming, where the production costs are going to be lower, and everything else is going to be toward manageable, and it's going to be all in streaming and stuff. But like I said, it's just, I feel like the genre as we know it is not going to be the same.
It's been distorted by what Marvel's done, though, because not every movie needs to make $1 billion. You don't need $1 billion to be successful, and that's what screwed up comic book movies in general, and that has to go away. Is the fact that because Marvel went through a streak, even though they went 6-7 years without making that kind of money, they went through a streak where they averaged $1 billion. That doesn't mean that's success all the time. You can control your budgets, you can make a good movie, and you can make a compelling storyline and pull in $600-700 million and still be successful. The $1 billion threshold has really screwed up movies in general. People are getting fired over their movies not making $1 billion. Whole universes are getting screwed up. The whole Snyder content thing was because you had idiots that thought BVS was going to make $1 billion just because it had Batman and Superman on it because of what Marvel's doing.
And it did very respectably also.
Yeah, and what you really needed to do is temper those aspirations to long-term things. Don't blow your wad and then we didn't make $1 billion. I guess we have to change direction. Nah, you know what? If you made $700 million and you spent $200 million and you don't think you made enough profit, guess what you do next time? You figure out a way to make $150 million unit. You reuse CGI. You reuse a lot of the stagecraft that you already have because you've been doing it for 10 years. So there's ways around it to extend the genre. I don't think the genre is going to be going away in my lifetime. I just think it can be better managed. And when something's mismanaged, it always looks worse than it is.
Someone give this man the presidency of Warner Brothers.
Well, it's also about general audience tastes and money. And if the tastes change in the general public and the money dries up, then,
Yeah, but you say that about the genre, and it never happens.
Look at the actual comic books themselves. I mean, the salary days were long in the past for the actual print media. I mean, most of the people now, it's you have few people that are into it, but mostly it's collectors. You know what I mean? Nerds.
What you're seeing, like in my case, what you're seeing though, is okay. So I have a section in my place called As Seen on TV. All right, because the majority of the people that I get in my store and then get in my area are tourists, and they love the genre, but they were introduced to it, but something that is not paper.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they don't want to get into it though. It just hasn't been given to them in a way. When I got somebody that comes in and just watches Loki, or has just watched Loki, you best damn he's going to walk out with content from Loki. Anything I can give them. And that's what store owners are doing, and that's what you have to do. The content is there for them to buy. You just have to make the connection.
Okay, let's go see this latest piece of Marvel shit you kids are jizzing over.
Yeah, it's up to the retailers and the companies that are still printing to make the connection because the audience is there. They want to come in and buy these things. They want an extension of what they just saw on the movie screen. It's up to us now to be creative enough to make the connection. That's what a retailer is supposed to do. But that doesn't mean that the genre is dead. It's been neglected because the people who run things, they see things and like, I can make this much money here. But I always say greed works. Make money everywhere. Don't leave the paper money on. Don't leave the comic book money on the table just because you can make $1 billion here. Make $500,000 with your comics and your $1 billion. Be greedy. Don't neglect anything.
What's the first rule of acquisition? Greed is good.
Yeah.
So
and these companies understand greed. That's a language that they speak. But like I said, I don't think the comic book genre is going. It has ebbs and flows, but as far as it going away, I think because of the on-screen stuff, it actually augments it if you know how to make the connection. So I think we'll be fine there.
Rocket launch.
Just fine. On that note, I am losing my voice completely, and I have to save it at some point because I have to interview Dan Jurgens on Tuesday, and I do not want to sound like this. So I'm going to say, William, you bring a lot of wisdom to this conversation, and I always appreciate your thoughts on all things pop culture, and especially these comic book movies. I think at the end of the day, time will tell. And that's like anything, right? But it's fun to get together, and it's fun to talk about it and to speculate about it and to see what it is. I don't know if you guys did see what I did put up. Apparently, The Rock did chime in on this whole shower thing, and we can know that The Rock is not one of the smelly ones. Somebody asked him if he's one of the smelly ones. He says, nope, I'm the opposite of a not washing themselves celeb. Shower cold when I roll out of bed to get my day rolling. Shower warm after my workout before work. Shower hot after I get home from work. Face wash, body wash, exfoliate, and I sing off key in the shower. So there you go, folks. At least we know that The Rock is not smelly Gyllenhaal.
No, that's a sweaty guy who needs those showers too.
Exactly.
So hopefully he's advocating for everybody.
He must not have wrestled Big Van Vader.
Uh-oh. Yes, sir. I'm gonna get some tea and lemon. I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna get some throat coat tea and some different stuff going on. So, but hey, guys, thanks for being here tonight. Thank you to everyone on the panel. Let's go around the room and just tell everybody where they can find you and go subscribe to these people.
Yes, sir. Well, there's my Twitter hand right there. You can find me on YouTube, Brian Master if none. I've got some cool stuff in the works. I got this fantastic little recording cable for my electric guitar, so I'm going to start messing around with some music. It should be kind of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So
heck yeah, man.
Stay tuned.
Heck yeah. DL, tell them where they can find you, sir.
You guys can also find me on the YouTubes at DL Vince right here. Talk about movies, I talk about shows, I talk about everything in the nerd and geek culture, including DC, Marvel, all that good stuff. I'm doing Disney reviews with my girlfriend. Pretty soon I'm going to have my own spoiler discussion on Suicide Squad. Tune in for all that stuff if you want to hear my takes on things.
Heck yeah. And where can they find you, sir?
So you can find me on my YouTube channel, Nightstar Productions, or Chicago Corner, which reports on stuff in Chicago. And Enosh, I think you got to clip that whole blueprint that William laid out when he came on and tweet it to everybody at Warner Brothers. Because, man, William, you are so on what's the word? On the right path to how they should be doing stuff. But yeah, so you can find me at Nightstar Productions, Chicago Corner. And Enosh, I really look forward to you visiting Chicago. I hope we can meet up and I can maybe show you around, take you out for a drink.
Heck yeah, man. Sounds like fun. And William, where can people find you, sir?
Vegas. Or they can just look up the Sci-Fi Center, Google the Sci-Fi Center. I'm all over the place. You'll see me in some silly form or another.
There you go. Well, yeah, I absolutely look forward to that. We'll be talking about the Chicago thing. I'm looking forward to going back to Chicago. It's been a while since I've been to Chicago. My sister almost went to Le Cordon Bleu. When my sister was 16, she's 13 years younger than me. She came to live with me, and I took her to Chicago for that very reason, so she could go and look at the school. She didn't end up going, but we had a really good time while we were there, and so we'll be we'll be coming back.
I'll show you guys around, right?
Heck yeah, I've had a good time there. So I've driven through Chicago so many times on all of my trips as a musician. It seems like Chicago has been my my hub to the world. Everywhere that I went in the summer of 2003, everywhere that I played, I had to go to Chicago. I played a ton in Minnesota, Wisconsin. We made a special trip to Iowa, Illinois, Southern Illinois, stuff like that. And so we were all over in that section there for like 2-3 months. And so a lot of trips through Chicago for sure.
And we are the home of the blues.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys. And to everyone watching, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Thank you always for watching. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, again, I kind of said earlier, but I'll say it again. Thank you for all your encouraging words these last couple of weeks. Know that, yeah, we're all good. We're all good. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We're here to stay. We will be here, and we're going to keep talking about the stuff that we love. Keep doing the things that we love, folks, because that's what the Poindexter Lounge is. It's a place for nerds, by nerds, and it will continue to be that. And we're not going to stop just for anybody, right? Until YouTube tells us we can't do it anymore, I guess. Guys, like I always say, be good to each other. Don't let anybody tell you that your fandom doesn't matter, and don't tell anybody that their fandom doesn't matter. But seek to have good conversations. Seek to come to some understanding about what other people feel. Even if you don't even understand where they're coming from. My friend Joe on Mega Podtastic there, like he likes the original 2017 version of Justice League. He does not like Zack Snyder's Justice League at all. But you know what? He's not a jerk about it. And we can talk. And I may absolutely not understand he hates Man of Steel. I don't understand how that's even possible. But I like Joe, right? And so the thing is Joe and I can have a conversation. I'm more than willing to talk to Joe because Joe's not a jerk. Don't be a jerk. That's the point. Be a Joe. Even if you don't agree with me, hey, let's still come together and have some fun, right? Because I think that you'll find, if you stick long enough, you'll find something about me that you like. Hopefully. Anyways, guys, thanks. Stay nerdy. Be good to each other. Until next time, bye-bye.